That's so exciting, and it's so amazingly attractive.
Yeah, you're not laughing now, are you?
So we got to
No, we're not laughing now. Hang on. All right. You wouldn't believe the chaos. Sorry, let me just do this a completely different deep dive with Leashy style.
I know it might sound crazy, but I just don't like this discrepancy.
This is how much I don't stop. I'm finishing work for the day. Yeah, I started 12 hours ago. Not complaining. People are complaining about not having work, and I haven't got that problem, I can assure you. Okay. But I know I know it's not fair, but it's a bit fun, isn't it? It's not. I'm trying. What is he still? So I've got geezer in rattling about stocks. We've got to talk about stocks. 2 minutes. That's all it'll be. But people are making mad mistakes, and it's terrifying. It's it's not terrifying, but it makes me sad because I always said you've got to take the emotions out of it. Investing, long-term investing. We're not traders. Long-term investing is all about temperament. You know, I don't look at my portfolio, my meager portfolio, because that sort of lark sends you nuts. But a few people wrote to me last week. Let me put the light on. I say put the light on. Let me drag a comb through the barnet. I had a girl once. I referred to my area as my barnet once in a boozer in Soho, and this girl said to me, she went, what's a barnet about that? I said, well, I have got some left. There's still hair on my head. She went, what? And that's called a barnet? I was like, I said, it's slang. It's a slang term. And she said, yeah, but what? Are you from Barnet? Just stop. At that point, stop. So I made my excuses and stayed because I knew she was nuts. And you know what they say about crazy women? Anyway, this won't be an investing stream. I've already got the clips. I made a VT. Roll VT, but there's been a last minute interjection. And another one before that, just quickly. When the stock market, when the S&P went down, the S&P 500, that's your main long-term investing index fund. And a lot of scrubs invested in it. And I had a load of people, over 5, and when I get like 5 emails, whenever you see someone get a review, right, the average review for a product is between 5 and 10%. So if something's had 100 reviews, you can guess that it's had probably somewhere around 800 purchases. But when I get 5, 6, 7 emails about one topic, I kind of know there's a load of other people feeling the same or thinking the same who just haven't written for whatever reasons. And they were saying, it's going down. It's been going down for ages. I'm going to sell it. I can't watch my savings going down. Whereas I'm watching it and I'm scrabbling around for every penny I can get to buy it at its bargain prices. When that's the beauty of long-term investing. When it goes down, like no one knows the future. No one's got a crystal ball. No one's clairvoyant. Even your top hedge funds, they don't know. No one knows. But history has shown us that over a long period, the old law of large numbers and all that, the volatile markets are volatile. They go up, they go down, they go up, they go down. But the tendency for the last 80 odd years has been up. It continues to go up. Over the last 80 years, it hasn't gone like that. It hasn't gone like that. It's gone like that. And so when the S&P is going down for whatever reasons, inflation, stagflation, any Californication, anything you want, you know, an election, fuel prices, cost of living, country's been invaded. It could be for all sorts of reasons. But that's when you have to, that's what dollar cost averaging is. And dollar cost averaging is just a Ponzi way of saying, just chip in regularly. Whenever you can, just keep putting what you can in your index funds that you've got. You spread it over a couple, 2 or 3, all based really on the S&P, on NASDAQ, whatever. And if you dollar cost average, if you just keep putting that $100 a week, I said all this before. If you put 400 quid 17 years ago on the S&P 500, you'd have 3 million tax free today. That's including stock market crashes. You know, I also, in the document, this isn't financial advice, this is for entertainment. I'm not a professional. You could lose all your money. I say in the pamphlet, maybe have a little gamble. This is what professionals have told me. Maybe gamble 10% of your portfolio. So instead of an index, you're actually buying an individual stock. Like Nvidia has gone up something ridiculous, like 500% in the last year or something stupid. Now, someone bought Palantir, and I talked a bit about Palantir, and was emailing me almost daily. It's going up, it's gone up, you know, it's going up, it's gone up to 110. I only paid 80, like, I can't remember what it was actually, 98 or something. It's gone up 111. Should I take some profits? You know, yeah, maybe. It's gone up 112. It's gone up. It's got, and then it started going down. And he's like, I've got to sell it. I've got to sell it. I can't. I'm losing all my money. And I'm like, you ain't lost a penny. You haven't lost a penny until you sell it. What you're actually getting is bargain prices. Is it a good company? That's the research you want to do. Look into it. What's the earnings like? What's the forecast like? Is it a good company? And if it is, and it's gone down to $100, you've got a bargain. And he went to me, I'm not going to say who it was, don't worry if you're in the chat. He went, nah, man. He said, I've seen $4,000 disappear in the last 10 days. I'm gonna get out while I can. And I just, how much is Palantir today? Fuck knows. I don't look at it every day because it sends you crazy. But I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest. Palantir, PLTR. Oh, I'm talking about Nvidia, aren't I? 115. There you go. 115. It's gone up $12. Fuck me. $12.82 today. So if you had 10 of them, you've made $120. Anyway, Jesus, man. I should have got some when I had the chance. Anyway, look, lovely. Hello, Jackson French. Good Lord, lovely to see you. Hello, Sophist. Oi, Sophist. I'd like you to come on for a stream, like me and you, just me and you, for 45 minutes or however long you can handle. I think you'd have an interesting life. I think you've already had one, and I'd like to talk to you. If you're not up for it, not a problem at all. But the offer's there. You know me email, chris@chrisdangerfield.com. Speaking of which, this Thursday, it's the John Palmer stream. It's the John Palmer stream. John Palmer is coming on. Oh, focus. John Palmer's coming on, and we're going to talk to him about his life. A life less extraordinary. I've been thinking of thumbnails, John, and how far I can push it before you'd go, never. What the fuck is that thumbnail, you bastard? Oi, Soph, it's funny you should mention Glaxo Welcome. Someone emailed me yesterday and said, I've been watching your stream since you told the story about going around the lake, going around the rivers of Dartford in like dinghies and, you know, rafts and falling in the water that was all full of chemicals and making your skin itch and go blue. And the reason it done that, girlfriend knows I'm streaming. She absolutely knows. Darling, what do you think I'm doing right this minute?
What you say?
What do you think I'm doing now? Allow me, can you twer?
You miss me.
I do miss you, yes, but what else? Down it. You can show me them. That is very nice. All right, love. I'll talk to you later or tomorrow, okay?
You live or make video?
I'm live. So you want me to show them what you're... Bye, love. Miss you. Love you. Mwah. Bye. Come on, I've just started and I was late. Bye, darling. Don't call me that. The river in Dartford went through Burroughs and Wellcome's chemical factory, which was then bought out by Glaxo Wellcome, which then became GlaxoSmithKline, and is now a housing estate that wouldn't look out of place in Hackney. It's shocking, you know. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. When I went back last year, someone said to me, have you seen what Burroughs and Wellcome? Because we all call it Burroughs and Wellcome, that area, because it always was Burroughs and Wellcome. Then it was Burroughs, like I say, then Glaxo. Anyway, right. Yeah, good to see you. Hello, Ellie. Oh, he's talking about shares. Yep. Oh, I thought you said you had bought them. Eleanor, you don't need a lot of money to make a little bit of money. You know, it's not, I mean, if you can be a little bit more frugal and you can put, even if you can put 30 quid a month into an index fund, it will be worth it. And you know, you'll be surprised how much you might have an absolute result. Anyway, it's not an investing stream. I've done a load of those. Alexander, I was buying Bitcoin at $70 a piece. But unfortunately, I was buying them to spend them on the darkest of webs. I think if I'd have kept what I bought then, it would have probably been about 10 mil now. 10 mil, not even joking. But I wouldn't have known about them or got into them if it wasn't for the need to buy them from to go shopping on the darkest of webs. Wolf is on the firm. Hello, mate. Sheila, John Enoch, Otto's in. Spanish chicken. Did you see your video reply, son? Nice one. Yeah. Well, you've got the Dartford sewage. That's at the other end of the river. So you've got the sewage that meets the chemicals, and then just downstream from that, you've got all the kids dying in it, and it's like an episode of Stranger Things. But nice one, Spanish chicken, for the donation on here. I think more than one actually. Blogs, of course I miss you, but what's funnier is I noticed they've named the Scrubs, Trawl and Not Safe for Work section as Billy's Cocktails. Right, listen, people, there's so much going on. I'm sure you've been all over it. It's too blackpilling for me to talk about now. The Iconoclast is coming on, I think, next week for a stream. That'll be a good one. It'll be one where me and him just ramble and take questions, you know, like one of these, but with him. Speaking of which, Picard, you want to join me or you want to take it easy? It's quite a good one, actually, because I've got clips lined up. Let me know in the chat, Picard, and I will arrange it right here, right now. Who else we got? I'm just letting a few more people turn up, Peeper. But Peeper, my head's in bits. Luckily, I have got the clips to help me out. But nice to see you, though, Bill. Always. Hello, John. I already said hello to you. Hello, Emma. Cheeky Chops is on the firm. Jedi Monk, what do you think of XRP? I know nothing about it. Barks is in. They don't call it the dark web for nothing. Deep.marketplace.com. Oh, they were the glory days, man. Hello, 42. Me old mucker. How are you, son? No, I watch. There, you know, I avoid committing to anything. We've got a stream to do, 42. The thing is, 42, I'm having problems finding someone to show the other side, and I just think that's not ethical necessarily, but stronger. It's a stronger thing. I don't want to just show one side, one history. And when they don't need to be in the same week or anything, and if I don't find someone, I'll do the stream with you, and then I'll forget about it, and it won't be strong. What is Packer up for it or not? Where is he? Hello, humans. Good to see thee. Look at humans. He's doing it. He's dollar cost averaging like a beagle. It is nice that he lets me on. Yeah, nice one, Packer. Here you go, son. I'll put the invite in the chat. As soon as you appear, I'll get shot of it, because I've no doubt Barclay, she's sitting there now quickly knocking up her Packer account so that he can trick me, because he's a little whippersnapper. Oh, yeah, I'll tell you what, though, those 24-hour calls, I mean, Keir Starling is quite a good one. I don't want to dilute two-tier Keir, but, I mean, let me know in the chat, please. Oh, no, you poked the bears on the firm with a new name. Hello, Picard. I know that's you because I can't see you.
Hello. Yeah, sorry. It's really shit light, isn't it?
Just Picard, it's all right. I think people have got used to it.
I've got a light on it. I'm in front of a 40-inch telly that's on. I've got a light on behind the telly. There's a window with a curtain open.
And two of them are behind you, causing the silhouette effect. If you're all right like that, people love to see you. That's all good. Eleanor wants a poem from Barclay. So Poke the Bear, who's been around this manor for years, has changed his name to the last Mzungu. Nice one, mate. Nice to see you. Hope you're doing well. So people, can you confirm this 24-hour, I say policing, but I was told, so please confirm this. I was told by various sources, Packer, you might know, that a geezer shouted at the old Bill. They chucked him in the back of a wagon. They got him into court. They processed him and chucked him in prison. That happened in like 20. That's a legitimate story, is it?
I believe so, yes. I mean, it wasn't just like he got in a copper's face and called him one name once. He was repeatedly.
Okay, but that's not.
Being,
oh no!
But to a copper who really
told me, weren't you?
Eh?
You were one of the people who told me. Actually, come think of it.
Yeah, and it's not whether or not you take issue with the fact that he's been sent to prison for that. It's the fact that only he's been sent to prison for that.
And it's also the fact that it was processed so quickly that
it's all ridiculous.
That's them turning up at your house, throwing you in prison. You get a duty solicitor who comes in dropping all his papers. Sorry, sir, I've only been on the job for 10 minutes. Sorry. Anyway, Christine. What? No, it's Chris. Sorry, John. What? Oh, Jesus. In fairness, I have had some good duty solicitors, but on the whole, the reason they're duty solicitors, that's not nice. Blog says this is called a miscarriage of justice. No time to announce a legal defence. Yeah, or prepare it or anything.
Yeah, but what they're doing is they're sitting them down and saying, right, here's you videoed doing what we're accusing you of doing, which is now against the law. You've got two choices. You can plead guilty and you'll get this sentence, or
20
you can argue it if you want, and go above magistrates and take it in front of a proper judge. And if you lose, you'll get this much, which is about 2 or 3 times more.
And it's going to cost you soon, and take up a lot of your time. If you take the second option and risk it, they'll make it a nightmare for you. They'll put it off. Take up loads of time, cause you problems with your employment, cause you problems and stress with the family. When your kids, if you do, either way though, it's certainly, oh God, it's, anyway, we're not going to go there tonight. We're gonna have a bit of a laugh. It is politics, but it's American politics. It's in the Senate. It's senators. It's my boys, Josh Hawley, John Kennedy, and Ted Cruz, ripping into Biden nominees for various positions. The positions, well, I don't mean literally positions, not like yoga warrior position, and you know what I meant, judges, district judges and all that sort of thing. But I need a wee, right? So Packer, can you hold the fort? It'll be a quick one. It'll be all right before I sit down.
I'll just sit here. That's all I've got to do in it. Right, everyone hide, or put gorilla suits on and get on a horse. Can't hear him. Vincent, Danger's gone for a wee and left me in charge. What do you think's happening here? Yeah, come on then, Billy. Why don't you ever come on? I mean, you could be faceless. Ugly Truth nailed it, as usual.
Thank you, son. Machano Capuchinata TT.
Ugly Truth comment.
What's happening?
Ugly Truth's last comment.
Okay, let's have a look. Where is he?
As
what, that one?
As reliable as a quartz clock.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, no, you're good. I can take it. I like it. Not a problem. No way. I was just about to say, Alexander. I am trying to up my YouTube game. I hope you've noticed I am doing more streams. I'm sort of trying to create, most great financial advisors tell you in times of uncertainty, use your skills. So I am trying to make this a revenue stream. You are very generous people, so this isn't a complaint. It's just a reminder. Thank you, Alexander. He said, here's a tenner for doing a live. Yeah, man, lovely. Absolutely labundo. You've got entropy donations at the top there. You've got super chats at the bottom. And if you want a video reply, you put your camera over that QR code that Packer's sort of point. Yeah, he's got it. Right, Packer, remember that. Get a muscle memory. It's not going to work, is it? Let me see if I can do it first time, and we'll see how bad it is. Yeah. But I've been doing it a bit longer than you, and I had this laugh. And I'll be absolute honest. If you'd have said to me before then, will you get it right? I'd have said, I haven't got a clue. This is a 50-50. I knew it would be there or there. And I did overshoot, in fairness, but I think it's always a 50-50. Touching it now. So yeah, they're your options. If you do use that QR code, you get a little video reply, which it's not great, but it's something. I better open that page up. Right. So before what I've got, thank you, Alexander, though. That's Machano Kushabrinatan. Dawn Browning, the Field Marshal herself, has been a member for 31 months. She's been a member for a lot longer than that. She's been here absolutely years. But hoy to you, Dawn Browning, for maintaining your membership. Amazing. It's like, I don't know, there's something about Dawn that she's part of not in a. It's usually a pejorative, isn't it? But she's not part of the woodwork. Oh no, she's part of the porcelain of the House of Scrubs.
Oh.
She's ranked. She's a ranking member. I don't think there's another ranking member, is there? Oh, how mysterious. Anyway, no, she is here as well. I was just thinking when it comes up that Lars has been on firm for 43. Go on, Packer.
We get one free one of those every month, all of us, so we can stick it in or not.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. Oh no, everyone do that, people. That's lovely. MCJ, the Dub Power, drops a Lady Godiva. I really enjoy these streams, apart from the content format, delivery, overall surprisingly mediocre content. It's a good one. Cheers, love it. It must be a strange one. I don't want to give the game away, but for a noob, they're probably thinking, wow, look at him take that. Like he's actually happy. But I am, because it's a classic. Absolute classic. Nice one, Dub Power. Thanks for the support. Always a Prashik and R2, you know that. Right. Now, listen. So this is going to be a long stream. It's 1 o'clock in the morning, but I'll go through for a bit. Sorry. When I said that, Packer went. He thought, dinner's on. Cranky's been on the firm for a month, but it's one more than none. Crank's absolutely a Prashanutu. And Cranky, a new lockpicking legend video went live today. It's a weird one though, because I got someone else to do it. I edited it though, but anyway. You can go and watch that in your, whenever you feel like watching it. Lovely Cranks. Cranks made some videos about a Dangerfield branded lockpick, right? He's got a small, I don't think he'd mind me saying small, he's got a small lockpicking YouTube channel. It's called Cranky Lockpicker. And he's made a few shorts using this Dangerfield brand lockpick. 83,000 views altogether, those shorts. He's over the moon. And so am I. Funny enough, so am I. I do see you over there, Ellie, in the lockpicking legend chat. Right, I've got to stop. I've got to stop being distracted. I love talking to you all, but we've got plenty of talking to do. But listen, I've got a VT. I haven't. That don't work, does it? I've already clipped it, so we're not relying on YouTube and all that. But first, I want to watch a bit of Charlie Kirk. Now, I think I'm a victim of a leftist campaign, an organised leftist campaign, to make me not like Charlie Kirk and to make me think Turning Point USA is a jank organisation. Because I just used to write him off. What, small-faced Charlie Kirk? Packer, if I say to you, what do you make of Charlie Kirk? Give us your honest opinion. Yeah.
To be honest with you, I know exactly what you're saying, Chris. I felt the same to start with.
Yeah, you just think
he's about Candice Owens to start with.
You think they're just like moderates who are sort of neocons who just want.
Yeah, but I came here via people like Carl Benjamin, and I still watch and take in the Lotus Eaters stuff.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough
because it's relevant. It's information. It's a pretty good source of information lately.
I don't think you can ever put Carl Benjamin Sargon down. I think he opened the gate for loads of for millions of people, Hello,
again, if you were already here, you look at them a bit weird because they're not really getting it. And I felt the same way about Candice Owens and small-faced Charlie Kirk.
Turning Point, basically, that little group. Yeah. Right. So Charlie Kirk has been doing that Stephen Crowder thing, which I think takes ridiculous balls to go to leftist campuses. Yes, he's got security, but 4 or 5 security guards. If those students wanted to just, rush him, they would. They would. And not only that, he's got to know his stuff inside out. So that these are students. When I was a student, I knew my Marx inside out. I'd just be able to rattle it out, quotes from Das Kapital, quotes from the German ideology, quotes from the Communist Manifesto, all the backup and other Marxist writers, the Frankfurt School, obviously. And, and so they're in that headspace, those students. Their tutors probably prep them before, he obviously has to get some kind of permission to put his thing. Maybe he doesn't. But so, even if they might be so specialist, they could be a PhD in the history of Venezuelan economics. And they, when you're arguing with someone and and what the left tends to do is steer the argument to their specialist area. And Charlie Kirk isn't really in a position to sort of say, no, we're only talking about this today. And when professors and, lecturers come out, people who've been like tenured, and he has to deal with all of those. And I haven't seen him fail. And you'd think, okay, on Charlie Kirk's shorts and on his videos, he's going to put his good ones up. But you'd think the left would put his fails up if there were any. They'd be all over the place. Maybe there are, but I haven't seen any. Now, that's not why I'm going to show you a little bit of Charlie Kirk first. The reason I'm going to show you a bit of Charlie Kirk first, he talks to this bloke, a student, and it turns out the student is an immigrant into... Charlie Kirk presumes that he's first generation son of immigrants, but he's not. He's an immigrant. And Charlie Kirk says to him, he says, well, you kind of prove him a point because I want all, I think he says stuff that Mark Collette would agree with. That's my point. And if you, and I can't remember his name. I call him old Wooden Top. I forgot his real name. It's been so long since we've talked. Who was on that stream with me and Morgoth when Morgoth got all ratty with me? He's an actual National Socialist. Oh, a lovely bloke, Irish fella. Anyway, listen to Charlie Kirk. Just outright says, I think American-born people should be put before immigrants in housing and in jobs. And, there you go. Nice one, Toffee. Yep, Wooden Top. That's a fella. There you go, I think. Yeah. Okay, so the thing is, I haven't got the Charlie Kirk thing on tape, but tape? It's so old. But I have...
in 5, 4...
Hang on, what's happening? What are you doing? Oh, yeah. Is that Roll VT? Yeah, no, good one. We'll use that. There's also something else I want to show you about a contemporary musician who does a form of music called plunderphonics. Might save that for another stream. Right, it's a bit out of place, isn't it? I'm a bit. Let me just find this video. I'm going through my history. Let me search Charlie Kirk. I don't think my YouTube history works properly. Right, here we go. I've got it. I found it. And it's the first one. Right. So I'm not suggesting that you were all tricked like I was about Charlie Kirk. Maybe some of you, well, obviously you've all got your own opinions on him. But forget what you've heard about him, what's been said about him, the image that has been sort of massaged, that the left have massaged him and sort of moved him into. Just listen to what he has to say and decide for yourself whether you agree with him and you think he's on your political side or not. That's the simple question. Now, for anyone who says, just let the fucking tape run, tape. For anyone who says just let the video, for anyone who says just keep turning the zoetrope, you can go and watch these videos without my interruption. And I don't mean that in a rude way, but if that's what you want, do that. But I can't. I literally have to react. I'm not even sure if I can get away with it on a live stream. So we might run into a bit of trouble here. if for people who don't know, if that does happen, if that does happen, the screen goes blank, and then in 3 minutes the stream starts again right here where you are. So make a cup of tea or something, come back, and the stream starts again. It will come up something like content match found, copyright, blah blah blah. But so this is the first one, and I'll try and play as much of it. I won't just interrupt for the sake of it. But this guy, I was like, whoa, this is very interesting. Here we go. So Charlie Kirk, can you let me know in the chat if you are getting an echo? Because I'd rather not have to put my headphones in, and my mic usually doesn't play the videos, which is obviously good. I'll leave me and you on there, shall I, Packer? Right, here we go, people. Like I say, let me know if there's a terrible echo or any echo. Roll VT.
You create a company that's like.
Right, yeah, I'll play the first line. So can anyone, was that sound all right, or was there an echo? Hello, Osmeister, good to see you. Hello, Rags. Oh, I'll just play it. I'm sure people will complain. Right, watch this. So the first thing is the bloke attacks his business, not his message. Nice one, Cranks. Cheers, Barrett. Hello, Barrett. He attacks his business, not a message. It's a cheap trick, Oh, you get donations. Yeah, it costs money. Anyway, here we go.
You create a company that's like close to being a fascist, and then
okay. How am I? Sorry. Let's go through this. How am I a fascist?
No. Dude,
Can you name one thing I believe that's fascist?
You believe that you are. Oh,
he hasn't got a clue. I mean, this geezer's an undergraduate. He's a student. He's accused. Hello, Mal. He's accused someone of being a fascist, and fascism. Look it up. Find out what it is. And then you can accuse people if you think they are. But to accuse someone in front of a crowd in public, being videoed for YouTube. Hello, Willow. And then Charlie Kirk, you see him huff. He's like, oh. And then he says, go on then. Give me one thing I've done that's a fascist. And the bloke doesn't know. What a peculiar way of approaching a debate. Or you're a Balinesian drummer. Give me one example. I mean, it's ridiculous. Roll VT. Hello, Quadrex.
Don't let him think.
But I'm such a bad fascist. I let the people who disagree in open mic to talk to me for 2 hours uninterrupted.
Okay.
I'm an awful fascist. I'm more like a free speech liberal of the 1970s, not a fascist.
But I just want to say Turning Point USA is a evil company that was funded by.
All right, so he called him a fascist. Yes, Otto, exactly that. So he calls him a fascist when he totally fails to defend that position. He's now calling him evil. You know what? We're now going biblical, are we? You are evil. You are the son of Satan.
Yeah,
so,
he can back that up with feelings. You see?
Yeah, it's a good call. Actually, it's a good call. You're starting to say too much. You're starting to make sense. You're learning this game. Hello, Vincent. Anyway, here we go. So now he's evil.
Thousands of fracking companies, and that just.
No, it's not thousands, but we do have some frackers that give us money. But
and then all it is making the rich more rich.
Fascism to fracking.
That's all it is. That's all it is.
So he's accusing him of making the rich more rich because fracking, people who do fracking, which is getting energy out of the ground using a technique which isn't the traditional way. Now, you might have your political position on that, but what the fuck has that got to do with fascism and evil? It's just absurd. I just, and again, these are students. When I was a kid, clever people went to went to university or colleges, whatever this is. It's ridiculous. Have a good diver, me old chippy chap. I'll take that Quadrex. Nice one. That'll be part of my dollar cost averaging. A price in a tattoo. Gee, good to see you, Quadrex. Thanks for the support. Hello, Kelly.
I can tell you why fracking's evil as well.
Go on.
Fracking is a new way of getting fossil fuels, and we don't need any more of them because fossil fuels are evil.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. This, Henry, start fracking again. Well, it's because it's not in the Green New Deal. Because why? Because they want to destroy America, and one of the best ways of doing that is not be energy independent. So America sits on a massive puddle of oil. And if the Democrats get in again, they will be making no use of that. You'll be driving around in a fart-powered car. Anyway, this student is Anyway, let's roll VT.
Okay, again, I'm happy to have a debate. I can see you're getting kind of fired up.
I'm sorry.
So, but why are we evil? Like, we're having a nice discussion.
Because
all of a sudden you're calling me like
because it seems like you just want the rich get even more rich. Like,
but Packer and the chat, I don't understand where you just want the rich to get richer. But okay, if that's your belief, and he might be right, but am I an idiot? You have to say why, surely. Right, you, because of these ideas and what you support, and then give examples of those ideas, you don't just say, this just reminds me of like fat cats. Those bloody
he doesn't
fat
know
cats.
why. He's just been taught that it's wrong. He doesn't know why it's wrong.
Yeah, and he's never been fought back against. He thinks Kirk's going to get into an argument like he's used to, where he's going to go, "No, you're evil," and it ain't going to turn out like that. Here we go.
We haven't talked about the rich at all. I mean, so you don't even know my positions on this stuff.
There you go.
At all. And by the way, just so we're clear, the wealthiest counties in the country all vote for Democrats. You know that, right? 8 out of 10 of the wealthiest counties in the country vote for Democrats. The wealthiest people, absent Elon Musk, are all on the left.
Wow. That is such, and it is. I checked all this out. I fact checked it. It's incredible.
Which is a strange position to take if the right is making them rich, isn't it? Very
Sorry,
odd.
mate?
It's a very strange position to take if the right is making them rich.
Yeah, I mean,
with the left.
The thing is, I think any government should help rich people make money because you need to support entrepreneurs. They're the lifeblood of societies. They create jobs. They create income. And they need to be rewarded for that. And when you don't reward them for that, and when you tax them, they fuck off. So, I don't think they've got a problem. I haven't got a problem with that necessarily, as long as there's also some kind of fairness with the lower class, the working classes, and the recreation of an American middle class that the Democrats have essentially destroyed. That's a great point. 42 says they never test their arguments in debate, therefore the arguments are weak. Yeah, absolutely. That you can see that bloke getting all frustrated because he's emotional. He feels like he's being caught out. Why? Because he's being caught out.
Jeff Bezos, George Soros, Mark Benioff, Mark Zuckerberg, Laurene Powell Jobs. On the left, yes. The richer you are, the more likely you are to be a Democrat and on the left.
Explain that to me, please.
The numbers speak for itself. The Democrats are the party of the oligarchy. Can you name one tech CEO outside of Elon Musk that is a conservative?
I personally think. Let me think. Peter Thiel.
Yeah, that's one.
Palantir.
That's one. Larry Page, Google, on the left, worth $120 billion. Sergey Brin, Google, $130 billion on the left. Laurene Powell Jobs, Mackenzie Bezos, Jeff Bezos.
If they're on the left, what has they done that was like, quote unquote, to do the left stuff?
Well, okay, so Larry Page gives money to left-wing NGOs all the time.
Like, if you're on the left, I don't think you will ever be this rich.
Well, they are. You know,
it's just, what the hell is that? What I think if you're on the left, you don't get rich. How ignorant! How ridiculously naive! These are students. Even if he's only been there a year, he should have at least done some A levels or the American equivalent or some kind of entry exam. You know, to actually think that. How brainwashed and deluded and ignorant are these students? Or this one in particular, but they all are like this in most of the videos like this I've watched. Sorry, Packer, I thought you had something to say.
There was a phone call last night between Elon Musk and Donald Trump.
That's right. I haven't had time yet.
Well, it's just a light-hearted chat about stuff. Like, it's not, no one's asking hard questions. They're not particularly disagreeing, but you keep on touching on things.
That might be quite a strategic thing to do. I mean, you know, they put Steve Bannon in prison until after the election, so that, you know, Bannon is a political genius. It was Bannon that got Trump elected. Andrew Torber, the bloke who runs Gab, put out a newsletter today saying, you know, since Bannon's in prison, and I know Bannon and Trump fell out, but 100% Bannon will be on the phone to Trump saying, listen, this is what you need to do. And Andrew Torber said it. He said, you need to stop, you know, tiptoeing around these things, and you need to get the white vote in the swing states. You need to say you're going to deport all illegal immigrants. You need to say you're going to deport all immigrants who have broken the law. And weirdly, that's on Trump's manifesto on his website. You know, he's doing it. And apparently, if I remember rightly, and any Americans in the chat might be able to back me up, but apparently if Trump wins Pennsylvania, Kamala Harris has got a 4% chance of winning the election. I mean, this is going to probably be a bit tighter than people think, although it's very hard to say because the information we get is all propaganda. Anyway, this does get there, people. I'm not just boring you with Charlie Kirk. It gets somewhere really interesting.
You know why? Because
they're not.
No,
because they're not.
The left is a scam. The left uses
How is this?
Let me tell you why. It's a good question, actually. The left uses people like you that think that, oh, we're going to fight the rich. Well, they protect their oligarchy. While you guys have to keep on working hard and never own anything, when we conservatives are the ones that actually want to restore the American middle class and bring jobs back to this country.
How would you restore?
Let me finish. The left uses people like you every day, and they use people on you by the trans thing, the abortion thing. Keep voting for us because the fascists are going to take your rights away. When who's funding the left? The richest people. George Soros. You know who George Soros is?
Who is funding? Dude, I have never seen a leftist organization come.
I can't believe I mean, this is basic.
To campus spreading their propagandas.
Well, because the whole universe.
I've never seen the left or the billionaires. Can you imagine? He thinks George Soros is going to turn up. He doesn't need to because the fucking university is a leftist boot camp. And that's, you know, I was talking to a mate earlier about AI, and he was saying to me, yeah, but, you know, he's a teacher, right? And he was saying, yeah, but all the kids I teach, they're like, I'm like, do you use AI like ChatGPT for your essays and, you know, Midjourney and that? He said, nah, because, you know, you can tell it's AI. And I said to him, yeah, but that ain't the AI that that's not the corporate AI that's being implemented. The real AI is the one you don't know that's going on. The stuff that's doing all that stuff we talked about the other day, like personalized websites and you know, all that kind of ultra fast data processing. Midjourney and ChatGPT, that's lumpen proletariat stuff. Yeah, look at this. Oh, it's AI. While in the background, they're working out how to sell you stuff. You know, this goes right back to the middle of the 20th century. So the likes of Dicta and Freud's grandson. Someone in the chat will know his name. What is it? Someone in the chat remember him. When they worked out, when you want to sell something to someone, you don't appeal to their intelligence, you appeal to their unconscious emotions. And that's what goes on here. They don't know that they're told that the rich are ruining America. The rich are doing that. There's no evidence. They just tell them, and they don't know that. He just said it. I'm going to play that section again because it's really important.
Bernays.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, absolutely. Bernays. He's not the only one. The Dick. Hello, mouse cat. Eddie Bernays. That's Freud's grandson. Weird but predictable use of psychoanalysis to end up in advertising. But Dicta as well. People, if you haven't read it, and I've recommended this book so many times, it's not about Eddie Bernays, but it's about the same kind of ideas. It's called The Hidden Persuaders, and it's by Vance Packard. You'll be able to pick a copy up for about £2 online. There you go. It was written, I think, in the 50s or the 60s, and it is still on point today. The way he explains, the beauty of it is he explains how marketing turned from, oh, look at this nice car. Wouldn't you like this nice car? Look at this nice cake. Where they started depth probing, where they started doing focus groups, where marketing became itself. And where it started, it realized you don't want to, people are too clever to buy shit they don't need. But on an emotional level, they'll pay. Right, crack on, roll VT. But I really recommend that book. It's a great read. You'll do it in an afternoon. Willow. I love the Persuaders TV show. He absolutely did. It's a great story, Otto. So Eddie Bernays, he got a gig with one of the big smoking companies. I don't know if it was actually the smoking, whatever you'd call them, lobbying group or whatever. It might have been a brand. But all the feminists were doing their protests. And so he'd got this gig. Eddie Bernays had got this gig. And he thought, how can I make this work? He said, how do I sell more cigarettes? And he said, well, for a start, women don't smoke. On the whole, generally, it was a male thing. So he said, how can I get women smoking? He said, right. So there you go, Otto. Perfect. He went down. He hired a load of women. He said, here, I'll give you $5 each, or, something like that. Probably not that much in those days. He said, all I want you to do is when the press arrive, that Eddie Bernays said, you want to go to that riot today because the women are smoking and they're calling them torches of freedom. And so the press, that's a front page story in the late 50s, early 60s, I think it was. So the press turn up in their droves. All these feminists get out their cigarettes, and some of them ain't even feminists. They're just working for Eddie Bernays. They get out their cigarettes. They all light them up. No one's seen anything like it. There's like 100 women smoking. The press are onto them. What are you doing? Why are you smoking? It's not the smoking. It's the symbol, they said. These are torches of freedom. Women aren't the women. The new woman isn't the woman of the past, and and from then on, women smoked. It was sold as a political point, but it had absolutely nothing to do with feminism and torches of freedom, torches of an early death, perhaps. Anyway, carry on, mate. Yeah, it will. This is worth watching. Trust me. Smoke, not hate. Good call, Ugly T. Eleanor, read that book, The Hidden Persuaders. It's like I say, it's not about Eddie Bernays. There are books out there about Bernays, but it's more about a German fella called Ernest Dicta. But they're both reading from the same hymn sheet, and it's really, really interesting. Anyway, roll VT.
Again, organization come to campus spreading their propagandas.
Because the whole university is a leftist organization.
No, it's
spreading
not.
propaganda.
It's liberal. There is a clear-cut difference between a leftist and a liberal.
You're coming after this in a good way because I'll just say Democrat politics, okay?
Okay.
Almost every major, powerful, wealthy person in the country over $100 billion in net worth, with the exception of one person, Elon Musk, is on the cultural left and gives money to the left. Mark Zuckerberg gave $400 million in the 2020 election to help get Joe Biden reelected through the Center for Technology and Civic Life. Mackenzie Bezos.
That helps his case, obviously.
I just want to look at the body language of this fella. And I know a lot of people don't go for it, but I absolutely do. I trained in psychoanalysis, which has got a lot to do with it. Look at him. Look at the way he's holding his bag. I'm sorry, but the symbolism is too much. It's almost like he's got some castration thing going on. There's no need to do that. It's got a strap on it that holds it. That's self-comforting. That is a understandably, he's talking, he's failing terribly, and there's a large group there. Most people would do some kind of self-comforting behavior. But for me, because it's very much of a ball sack, come on, look, the symbolism you can't deny. And there you go, look, Quadrex was in there. Yes, Sheila, good call. His bag is his teddy bear. There is excellent, John. I missed that. Absolutely. Why do people put their shoulders up, people, when they're feeling under pressure? There's a reason for it. There's an evolutionary reason for it. When you're under pressure, when you're Amy Godala, which is fight or flight, but there's another one. It's not just fight or flight. There's also freeze. But when that's kicked into gear and you're feeling like you're about to, lose, it's only an argument, but it taps into your fight or flight response without a doubt. You lift up your shoulders because it protects your arteries, and the major arteries and veins that run down the side, either side of your neck. If you know how to do a rear naked choke, there's two types of rear naked choke. There's an air choke and a blood choke, because one of them is your windpipe and the other one is the vein and the artery. And what you do, if by lifting your shoulders up, you're protecting. That's something that's happened through years. That comes from protecting ourselves from saber-toothed tigers and the like. You watch people under pressure in conversation. They'll cover their elbows. They'll cover the inside of their elbows. Why? Because there's loads of veins at the surface of the skin there. Well, there should be. I haven't got any. They'll cover their armpits. And the other one, of course, is their genitals. But they're not protecting their genitals. They're protecting their femoral artery. Because if you stick a knife, a 3-inch, 2-inch, a 2-inch knife will do it. A 1-inch knife will do it. And obviously don't do this. I'm just telling you this. If you push a 1-inch blade hard enough in the right spot, which is about the size of a 5p piece, and cut that femoral artery, if you don't get medical attention, you'll be dead in about 5 minutes. And so that's why people put their hands down over what looks like their genitals, but it comes from them protecting really vulnerable parts of the body. And they'll have seen, humans centuries ago, millennia ago, would have seen, people in their tribe get an injury in those parts and die. And they'd be like, that is a fucking dangerous place to get hit, as is the crook of your elbow, as is your armpits, and as is your neck. Well spotted. Who said that? I'm well on fire. That's femoral artery. Who was it, Packer? Who spotted?
John Enoch, wasn't it?
John Enoch. Well done, man. That's a great spot. I can't believe I missed it. Good call. All right, here we go.
Donate money to his.
Oh, okay, but hold on. But 1 second. Mackenzie Bezos with $45 billion, major Biden backer. Laurene Powell Jobs worth $20 billion. Steve Jobs' widow, one of the most radical left-wingers in the Emerson Collective. Mark Benioff from Salesforce worth $12 billion. One of the most radical left-wing guys that you'll see out there. The eBay guy, Omador, one radical left-wing. It's so important for you on the left. You guys are being scammed.
They just don't understand this. They think that the fat cats are all on the right, when it's quite the opposite.
And gamed because they talk a good game about building the middle class, but it is not the party of democracy. It's the party of oligarchy. And you can go fact check me tonight.
Okay.
And you might actually have cognitive dissonance. Type in this: wealthiest counties in the country. They almost all vote for Joe Biden. Who gives the most political donations to the left? All the wealthy people. Go look up the top billionaires on the Forbes list, the top 100. Only about 10 of them give the Republican, the other 80 give the Democrat, the other 10 don't give it all. It is mind-blowing when you realize the shift in power the last 10 years. Republicans used to be the party of the rich. You know what changed? We nominated a class traitor as our nominee, Donald Trump. As soon as Donald Trump became our nominee, all the billionaires said, we don't want him anymore. He talks about things we don't like. He wants to end the wars, close the border, bring jobs back to this country. We want to keep on supporting a political.
Right. So this is the kicker. This is where the bit that I wanted you to see all that to give you some context. But right, whatever you think about Charlie Kirk, the next couple of minutes, well, probably about 3 or 4 minutes, just consider it without prejudice. Oh, Bill sent me a silly entropy. He might have to go. Nice one, Bill, for that lady in the entropy. He says, bastards. Bastards. One death by horsecock video and all the disingenuous pearl clutchers. Moody, really. Get me a channel about cocks. Mr. Hands is an internet classic. Even Joe Rogan shared it. I hope you're well. Extra characters for a change. What to say? Arse. Now, Billy, in support of you, I have talked about Mr. Hands on this channel, so I can back you up on that. There's a film, you can go and watch it. It's a documentary called Zoo. It's a true story of a group of blokes who were into bestiality, and they used to film what they got up to. And I was told that this geezer enjoyed having, I'm sorry, like if this triggers you or you're under 18, don't listen because I'll get in trouble. So I'm just giving you a bit of time to turn off here. But I heard that one of them, it killed him. I thought, how would it kill you? Because, you know, the back end of an horse is massive. And of course, when I watched the documentary, no, he's the passive partner in that arrangement. Oh my days. Oh my days. Imagine the size of an equine member. I'm trying to encrypt it a little bit. He had it, they videoed it, he finished and then went home and then he was rushed to hospital. Yeah, it killed him. It killed him. Now, here's the thing. We all had our parents embarrass us turning up at school in your crappy old motor, or your mum turning up in a silly hat. Hello, Emma. All that sort of lark. But imagine when it got out that your old man, whose online name was what Billy said, Mr. Hands, it was Mr. Hands, got killed enjoying, shall we say, a horse. You know, you're never going to live that down. And I always thought it was kind of ironic that he called himself Mr. Hands, because they measure horses using hands, don't they? And they should have maybe said to him, are you sure you want 4 hands worth up your back door? I don't know if that's... So, yeah, Bill, I don't know what I'm defending you for, but you're absolutely right. What you just said. Yeah, maybe you should have done that. But fair play. Thanks for the support, Bill. You're always very generous, and thanks for using entropy. But yeah, I'm backing you up on that one. Yeah, I mean, you're not going to live it down, are you? You're going to have to move schools. And then it's going to come out, and you spend, you know, only until you're an adult are you going to be able to live with that. You know, and even then, you know, the damage that will do to a child. You know. Anyway. That's a little bit off topic, which means I might have to delete that. Bagger says, don't touch me there. That's my nay square. Good call. The Glan National. Lovely, lovely. But I can't laugh at this sort of thing because it is actually a tragedy. And by the way, YouTube, when you're watching this, we're not laughing at the tragedy. We're laughing at the fact that this is our culture. These are the kinds of things, the stories that are told. Humans communicate via stories. And the fact that I know that and Bill knows that and now you all know that, you know, this is where we live. It's a peculiar place to be. Anyway, roll VT. Hello, Sergeant Steele. Yeah, it's going all right, actually. A few ups, few downs, but love in the glorious House of Scrubs. Love good numbers, generous people, funny people, good people. Love it. Roll VT. I hope you're
Party
well.
that doesn't want any of that stuff. Explain to me how Joe Biden represents the working class in this country. He doesn't.
He very much supports the unions.
It's a oh, hold on a second. The union or the union bosses? Big difference. The union bosses supporting the rank and file love Trump. The UAW
people, I'm sort of getting a bit para because I tend to, because when you're the actual streamer, time goes slow, but this is worth it, I promise you.
who love Trump more than Biden. The carpenters union love Trump more than Biden. The police union. The point is this, is that the Democrat Party, they are sitting on a house of cards of young activists that truly want to go like crush the rich. And there is some truth to that. Like there's a very rich oligarchy in this country that remains rich and stays rich off of gaming government systems and public policy. And you guys give them a free pass because you think that we're fascists when in reality, we're the ones that are actually fighting to destroy the oligarchy the most.
Absolutely.
All right. Last question.
Last point.
Last point.
Here we go.
Let's say, so you do want to fight for the American middle class, and
That's my yes.
Okay.
That's
How does freer the market like helps with the middle
again,
class?
I want precision in free markets, but
how does free market support the middle class?
Again, I'm not puritanical, but I think that generally more choices are a good thing. I think that generally supporting on.
I mean, when you ask a question like, how do the free market support the middle class? It's like, well, what's the option? No markets? Because when you haven't got a market, as we all know, because I say it once every 10 streams, you can't regulate the value of your resources. And if you can't regulate the value of your resources, because that's what markets do, you can't plan. You can't plan your nation because you don't know the value of your resources, including labor, including work. And that's why communism fails, because they don't know the value of anything, because there's no markets to regulate the value. It's just so basic. So, you know, these weird, they're sort of accidental communists. I mean, it's a classic useful idiot.
Entrepreneurs is positive, but I think that mass immigration is really bad for American workers.
There's no
right. If you didn't hear that, right, here we go. This is the kicker. So this is what changed my mind about Charlie Kirk.
Entrepreneurs is positive, but I think that mass immigration is really bad for American workers.
There's no mass immigration.
Well, first of all, how many people are? Wow. Well, you're right. There is mass invasion, but how many people are coming across the southern?
Hang on, we need his emotional response again there. Did you see that? So Charlie Kirk, it's a little dig, but he says, no, you're right. There's no mass immigration. There's mass invasion. Watch the bloke's response. He's like, wow.
He's winded,
like,
isn't he?
You can't say that. He's not even upset about the point he's making. He's upset that someone's dared to say something. You can't say that. It's absurd. Nice one, LC 350. Much appreciated. Yeah, and a big hoit to you. I hope your picking game's going good. New video on Lockpicking Legend tonight. Take care, son. Good. If you need any advice, you've got my email, haven't you? I hope you're still on it. Right, so watch this bloke. He just can't believe someone would have, you know, it's such a mild thing to say.
There is mass invasion, but
wow, man, you're crazy. Are you on some kind of drugs?
How many people are coming across the southern border every day?
Right, a geezer has just said there's no mass immigration, right? Now, we don't even live in America, apart from a few Americans in the channel. Bless you all. Best wishes to you and yours and your republic. But he said there's no mass immigration to America. We all know about the southern border. We all know that there's an estimated 11 to 20 mil come through this year, right? So he's just said it, there ain't any, right? Charlie Kirk has just, well, I'll play it back. He asks him how many people he thinks are coming through the southern border. Listen, after saying, you know, he said there's no mass immigration. Check this.
But how many people are coming across the southern border every day?
I don't know, but like,
no, I'm
not
actually genuinely curious. Can you guess?
okay. On what time frame?
Every day.
Every day. 500.
Yeah.
I just don't know what to say about that. I just don't know what to say about that. 500. Rags says 20 million in 3.5 years. Yeah, but Rags, there's all the getaways as well. There's, you know, there's the people they don't know about. So, you know, there's estimates that are far higher than that. But regardless, nice one for the numbers. The geezer said, Cruz says, how cute. 500. They come over the channel in a boat to England every day. It's just, what? Anyway, so we'll continue.
It's at a low point, it's at 10,000 right now. It was 15,000 last month. So what is that annualized? Let's play that.
15,000 a day.
A lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So that's mass immigration, right?
Well, let's do the maths. He said 15,000. Let's take it down to 10,000. Yeah, that's over 3.5 million a year. And I took that down. I took a third off of Charlie Kirk's numbers there. 500. You know, where did he get that? He had to guess that. He said have a guess, but he was so sure that there's no mass immigration. These are students. They're in higher education. It's just, it's, you know what? They must sit around going, oh, all these fascists saying there's mass immigration. And then someone else will go, yeah, they're horrible, aren't they? They just don't like foreigners. And then they go, yeah. And I mean, for God's sake, someone say, does anyone know how many people are coming in? But no. Why? Because they want to go to the trampoline club or whatever they do at university. Blogs has done it again. Thanks for the donation, Bill. Very kind. He says he sort of. Oh, you're going to get me. It's me. It's my channel that's going to get dragged out, Bill. Bill says he sort of did die of shame. They drove in circles around the hospital, but he didn't want to go in and try some pathetic excuse. We're talking about Mr. Hands here. Might have got done for the. I'm not going to read that out for what happened and grooming an animal. And yeah, I didn't know that. So they actually drove around the hospital with his wife saying, and him saying, I can't go in. I mean, that, you know, your life's on the line. If my life was on the line because of that, I'd just walk straight in that hospital and say, listen, this happened, sort it out, please, because I'm on death's door. I wouldn't think, should I die or should I, you know, no, I have no shame in such situations. And I might actually learn something from it, you know. You know, that's why when kids burn their hands on the fire, they tend not to do it again. Anyway, thank you, Bill. But back to Kirk. Yes, Black Pigeon peeled, but the reason I don't like perpetuating that is because that's what the left have done. The left has made people think Charlie Kirk's an idiot. And that's why I'm showing this video. I assume you got in late, but he's actually right on the money. I think he's our guy. And I think all of that anti-turning point, all of that anti-Charlie Kirk stuff was, almost certainly a funded, organised campaign to make the right disrespect Charlie Kirk because he's powerful, he knows his stuff, and it's doing its job. You know, he goes to these universities and he changes minds. Now, the next couple of minutes is really why I've played you the last 7.
How many green cards do we give out every year?
Probably a lot.
Yeah, a lot. About 1.2 million.
Well,
right?
what's wrong with giving out green cards?
I'm not saying anything wrong. No, you said there's no mass migration. So I'm just trying to tell you, we do have mass migration, right? We have 3 million on the southern border, and then we have 1 million green cards, right? That's 4 million a year, right? Which is basically bigger than most U.S. states. Now, everything comes with a...
So more in a year than most U.S. states. And that's just the ones I know about.
Cost. When you have mass migration, you're going to get lower wages. But that means you're going to disenfranchise American workers. What, are you studying computer science?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, so you're an American born, I'm guessing, American raised? I don't want to assume.
I wasn't, but I moved to the US.
Right, so this is where it gets interesting. So he wasn't born in America. And now I would have thought Charlie Kirk would have gone down a different route here. And this is why I changed my mind on him and have been watching a lot of his content since. Check it out.
Okay, well, you're an American now, I guess. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah,
I am. Student visa? Okay, you're going to now have to compete. You're kind of proving my point, but that's a separate issue. You're now going to have to compete against foreign labor for your computer science jobs. I think we have a moral obligation to American-born workers to give them preference and priority and restrict the labor supply so that our computer science majors can have higher wages, not to have suppressed wages so some tech CEO can bring in a bunch of Indians and suppress their, no, nothing against Indians, but just, bring down their wages.
Personally, I just think that, like, if you came to America...
and I would imagine pretty much everyone in the chat would agree. The work jobs should go to the people who are born in that nation, the natives of that nation, not to people who will work for less, that bring down wages for the whole nation. And Charlie Kirk is saying, I've got to be careful here, but Charlie Kirk is saying that Native Americans should be put first, and the bloke just can't grasp that idea. The idea that without that you don't have a nation, you just have somewhere that it's like the old country's an airport. People turn up and just work and say they're American, which pulls the rug out of what it means to be American and what it means to be a nation.
And then receive a green card. I think you get to work however you want. Like,
okay, I think that American-born citizens
and then there
shouldn't
be a priority because they're American citizens.
Well, that's where we're different. I actually think you must have a priority to your own citizens, or else you don't have a government. You have something else. If you don't have a priority to your own people, I don't know what you have. You have a colony, not a country. You're just a big economy.
Mm-hmm.
It's an amazing point. If the government isn't prioritizing Americans, what is it there for? And it's great. I can't disagree with that.
And that's fine if that's your position. By the way, your position is held by the ruling elite, where I think that we should have a country, not just a colony, where the American-born citizens should be given preference over foreigners. Nothing against foreigners. I think they're nice people, but the Americans should be given first preference. And by the way, any sane country believes that. We're like the only country in the world that says, and certain European countries, come on in and take whatever you want. So let me ask you a question. So in the CRT literature, what?
All right, that's enough of Charlie Kirk. But I just thought that final point made me reconsider Charlie Kirk, and then made me look at some of his other content, and I was pleasantly surprised. And I think there's been, I talk to a lot of people on the right and about Charlie Kirk, and they're like, yeah, what, small-faced Kirk? And I'm telling you, his positions are spot on. He's an anti-globalist and he's a nationalist. Maybe have a second look at his stuff.
He's very Christian. He's very Christian.
Yeah, he absolutely supports. He believes in marriage. There's a great one. He goes on that whatever podcast. That weird girl with the funny helmet that sits in the background, and they always just have OnlyFans girls on it for the eye candy, and he just tears them to pieces. Not in a vicious way, but he says, "Do you think being an OnlyFans woman makes you more? It's coming. Don't worry, Glass. It's coming. Do you think it makes you more attractive as to be someone's wife or less? And this woman says, "Oh, definitely more." And he's like, "What makes you say that?" She says, "Well, they tell me." And he says, "Yeah, they're lying." You know, if I was single and I was in a boozer and I see a bird and she was, I like sex workers. I'll take Emma off the screen when I say this. And you know, if I was 27 and she went, "Would you be my husband though, even though if I'm on OnlyFans?" I'll be like, "Yeah, I haven't got a problem." No, I haven't got a problem with that. But even if I didn't want to marry her, I'd still lie because I wanted to, you know, do what young men do. Anyway, watch that. Search Charlie Kirk, whatever. It's cracking actually. He kind of says everything to the OnlyFans girls that you want to say. I've got nothing against OnlyFans girls, by the way. Oh, Packer's gone. But I have got issues, probably eating his dinner. But I have got issues the way they've been brainwashed into thinking it's not going to affect their life. That's my problem with it. JP drops in £2. Who will serve my coffee and muffins in prep, Bigger? Sorry, JP. I'll see if I can sort. I'll do it myself, mate. Let me know. Order it. I mean, you'll have to give me a few months. Well, actually, with the airfares, a couple of years. But you know, I'd love to serve you coffee and muffins. One day, John, we'll sort that out. I'll make a promise to you. Where are we here? Hang on. Quadrex comes in. I've got a £5 on it. I hope all are well and surviving well. Big love, Chris. Packer and everyone here. Sending my best, always from Ireland. We battle on. I don't know what you're talking about there, Quadrex. So if you got to do the off, I've got 5 on it. I don't know. Is that slang that I don't understand? Or are you staying? Or I'm guessing you're going. We'll see you later, mate. Nice one on the donations and lovely to see you as ever. Let me know if you ain't going, though, because it feels weird otherwise. Chrissy, you're wrong about the whatever podcast. All right, okay, that's fair enough. Maybe I'll do a stream next week, Chrissy, where we'll watch it. That's interesting. All right, okay. That's interesting. I will admit, Chrissy, I haven't seen the whole of it because it does get a little bit much. But I did see him talking to that girl when he said that they're lying to you. But no, all right, that's a good call. I'll watch the rest of it. I should watch the rest of it anyway. So I appreciate that. Thanks for the support as well. Mousecat drops a £5 in. The end bit of the film Network. Peter Finch gets schooled. The end bit of the film Network. So people, if you haven't seen it, there's a movie called Network. You've got to watch it. He's an anchor, right? not as in a merchant banker, but he's like a news anchor. And it's a bit like, what's the movie Falling Down? You know, Falling Down, about the bloke who gets caught in traffic and just loses his mind and just falls apart. It's a bit like that. The geezer's a news anchor, but he starts to realise that it's all bullshit. And one night on the news, he just snaps. And instead of delivering the mainstream media propaganda, he starts going, you know what? And he starts telling the truth. And all the people, like the director and the ADs and the second AD and the crew, they're all going, cut. And the director's like, hang on a minute, because their ratings are going up. And he's sitting there and he starts going, and of course, it's they realise that weirdly, the viewers quite like the truth. So that's the movie Network that Mousecat is talking about. The end bit of the film Network, Peter Finch gets schooled on why the world is a market for the rich. Basically, shut up and put up, pro. yeah. Good call. Nice one, Mousecat. Oi, people, watch Network. If you haven't seen Network, I'll tell you what, that'll be a lovely matinee. Falling Down and Network. Maybe not with your missus, though. It's not. They're not the happiest of movies. Falling Down is an underrated movie, though. I mean, Network is a known classic, but I think Falling Down needs revisiting. Anyway, let me find my tape, my clips. I think Packer's probably having his dinner. Is he in the chat? confirming that. If one of those super chats I didn't thank you for the donation just then, I do apologise, people.
I'm eating my dinner, Chris.
Oh, there you go. You're all right, son. So I didn't. You're still there.
I have liver and onions, and liver and bacon rather, and it's delicious.
Chrissy, let me know why. No, I must admit, I'm not a fan of it, but I do have fond memories of my mother making it. My mother couldn't cook, but she used to do it, loads of onions, and there was something nice about it. But when someone told me what the liver does, you know, I'm a bit funny around those things. Oh, my missus gave me some food yesterday. She said, try this. And I always try it. Oh, Lord knows what it was. And of course, she don't even know, you know, she just tells me what it's called. You know, she doesn't sort of say, oh, it's, you know, the neck of a snake. Actually, a snake is just a neck, isn't it? Anyway, I'm going to just see if Chrissy has given any more info, because that'll be interesting. Actually, it's unfair asking Chrissy to defend her thing. I am a whatever fan. Been watching it for about a year, 6 or 7 hours chat. So I think it's a good thing. Oh no, Chrissy, you've totally missed my point. You've totally missed my point. I watch the whatever podcast. They do always have OnlyFans girls on it, you know, for the eye candy. But I said I was telling people to watch it. Watch the Charlie Kirk one, and we've talked about it on this channel before, and I've shown clips of it. No, I mean, you know, it's successful for a reason. It's successful for a reason, and it's not a sausage party. It's not. They don't all agree. It is actual debate, and I'll give them that. So sorry, maybe I gave the wrong impression. I know what that's about. Sorry, Emma. It wasn't meant like that. It was. Yeah, they are Sophies. 2 cracking movies. I'm assuming you meant that. Oh, there you go, Osmeister. That's yeah. I think it weirdly has you know, because it's become more relevant, perhaps. Rat burger. Oh, mate, some of the rats I saw today don't. Right. Well, let me find my tape. Good food, Picard?
Delicious. Yeah, liver and bacon. That was it. Big plateful.
It's an interesting thing you're doing. How long has it been? I know I ask you every time.
Well, over a year. 18 months, probably.
Wow, and it's still working. It's still working. Hang on a minute.
Toffee don't believe me. He says he's got to talk to me about it. He just doesn't believe it.
What, that you do it or that it works?
Either, I think. I don't know.
People, turn away. People, can you like the video, please? Because if you don't like it, YouTube never tell anyone. Yeah, give it a thumbs up. I don't mean like it as in sit there and go, yeah, okay, nice. I'm enjoying myself. Imagine someone wasn't enjoying it. And I said, can you like it? And they went, yeah, all right then. This is good. Give it a thumbs up. Because the problem with the stream is, obviously, you don't tend to press the like, because that's usually in the comment section. But it's when you like it, that is the highest indicator that gives a video authority for YouTube to potentially show other people. But hello, Charlie. Good to see you, son. Everyone turn away from the screen now, apart from Emma Glass. I've just got to play something. Packer already knows. Turn away from the screen and turn the volume down, people. Emma, it's your birthday, Emma.
Every time you why is it getting so hard? It feels better to be dumber. So every time you just drop and drop.
There you go. Got a little bit of programming in. And now we're back to Normal proceedings. Baz, I decided I had to because I watched some of it back, and although it was a cracking stream, I get a little bit excited in places, and I said things that would have got me a strike. And these days, sometimes they don't just give you a strike; they just say, "Nah, we don't want that on YouTube." It was a bit of a a little bit of fun. What a movie that is, Honey Monster. Hello, Honey Monster, by the way, and hello, Baz, by the way. Nice one, Sheila. That's the score. Right, here we go then. Emma's back on form. She's in the trance she deserves to be in. She'll be changing her outfit as we speak. This is so naughty. Did you just dribble, Packer, when I said that? You dribbled.
I was coughing.
Do you mute yourself when you hit your vape?
I try to, yeah.
Me too.
I often forget, but I do try to. Yeah, when I cough or anything like that, or just in general. But then I forget I've done it, and you ask me a question and I answer, and then bloody idiot's muted.
Yeah. But when I watch streams and some, like, if I don't mute it, I'll try and just have a light one, like.
Yep.
But no one likes watching a stream when it goes, and when you can hear all the they're horrible things. I reckon I'm knocking mine on the head soon. You know, like I said 5 years ago. Right, let me find my tape. My VT. Where is it? Oh Lord, I made a lot of oh no, I've got it. We're good. Right, so people, I have been talking. Where are we? It's 2:00 in the morning. Still 100 people in here. We've been running for, when did we start? Oh, hour and a half. It's all going sweet. I've been talking a lot lately. Too much. I can hear my voice going. Let me just wet my nodules. Wet your nodules, Emma. Right. Oh God, hang on a minute. Let me just mute it.
He's hiking one up by the looks of it.
Getting old is awful.
Did you get it?
Oh,
did you get it?
No, it wasn't. I wasn't debunking history. Right, people. I've been talking a lot lately about 3 Republicans in the Senate chewing out. Hang on. Grilling. Sorry. I think that video done me. I forgot to look away from the screen. Grilling Biden's progressive, Marxist, radical nominees for various judicial positions. Not small positions, though. You know, these are like district attorneys and things. And they're all... Anyway, what makes these interesting? So I've got a few clips of each of them. Josh Hawley, he's the new kid on the block. He's been in the Senate, I think, for about 2.5, maybe 3 years now, maybe 2.5 years. Ted Cruz, who you all know, I think he's been well, not as a senator, but he's been working for like his whole life. And John Kennedy, Ted Cruz is the senator for Texas, and John Kennedy is the senator for Louisiana. And I'm not trying to give it the large of my American politics. I didn't know that the other day, so I thought I should know, so I found out. But what makes these good is not only Josh Hawley, Ted Cruz, and John Kennedy being brilliant at their job, and that means not getting into an argument, but letting the nominee do their work for them. Because if you get into a spat, it's just not nice to witness. But what makes these also beautiful is the insanity of these nominees. And also, take this into account, the Democrats, it used to be the case in America, around Reagan times even around W, there would be bipartisan. I know there are the occasional bipartisan things when it comes to like national security and that. But even now, I've seen like Homeland Security directors talking shit. And anyway, they're so crazy, some of these people. And I know it's a bit of a what's crazy, but I already said it. They're radical, progressive Marxists. And you don't want them in the jobs they're getting. And let's roll VT. Again, if I would advise you, because I could have picked, like Sophist watches these as well, and I'm sure some of you do. But I could have picked from about 100 videos. If you want to see more of them, and if you want to see them uninterrupted by me, I have to interrupt these people or I will get done for a copyright match. But what was I going to say? Yeah, the channel is Forbes Breaking. So go to Forbes Breaking, not now, obviously. Go to Forbes Breaking, just search that on YouTube. Then go to videos and then go to popular and then just scroll down and look for any by Josh Hawley, any by Ted Cruz, any by John Kennedy. Some of them are like 4 or 5 minutes. Some of them are like an hour. And have your mind blown at the Biden nominees for these big jobs. Jobs like FBI jobs, high-ranking jobs in Homeland Security, district attorneys, and you'll be like, "Hey." Anyway, right, here we go. So I've made a reel, so hopefully it'll all work. Let me know if the volume is good enough because I can add a little bit. Hopefully I haven't fucked this up. I've done it about 4 o'clock in the morning, so there's a good chance there'll be no audio and then this stream's over. Not really. I can always improvise content. Let me just clean my glasses. Get some of that Harry Monk off the old bins. God, I'm in a good mood. I've been working all day long. I'm still doing 2 people's jobs. Today, 3. I was still working when that clock was ticking, as you saw. And as soon as this stream started, my mood just changed. I love it here. And thank you all very much. It's a privilege to be able to stream. It's a privilege to know that I can stick a stream up and there'll be some people there who I respect like. Right, here we go. Check it. Let me know about the quality of the audio and all that. If you want it louder, I can put about 30% more on it.
Just Shogun, when you were here last year, a number of senators asked you.
Right, how's the volume? Let's just do this check. While I'm waiting for that, I think I've a couple of super chats. Thank you, people, for the donation. You've been very generous tonight. It means the world to me. Mr. Fuse says, that Boroughs and Welcomes, is that near Dartford Lakes, the river to Sutton at Home? They built on that 3 years ago. Yeah. No, it's not near the lakes. Well, it depends what you mean by near, John. How long's a piece of string? Boroughs and Welcome used to be up by Temple Hill. But if you follow the river from Boroughs and Welcome, let me picture it. It goes through Dartford town centre at the bottom of East Hill. Then it goes round a little bit, sort of underground in my head. Then it goes through some private land, but there's houses on that now. And then it comes out at the lakes. Yeah. But it doesn't go into the lakes. It's not like a tributary. It runs, the river is actually at the back of the lakes. So there's one path that you can walk along where you've got the big A2 lake on one side and the other side, the river that goes all the way, like you say, to Sutton at Home. So, yeah, it's the same river, but I don't know if we've got the same area. Boroughs and Welcome is really where Temple Hill is, but across the road. Nice one, John. Appreciated. Right. Was the sound all right? Let me see the sound checkers.
It was good.
That's it. Absolutely, the River Darren. That's it. We got a good. Sounds good, is it, Packer? Good. Here we go. Yep, Suffies. That's what does me, mate. You know, the people on it. You're just like, and Suffies. Look, watch this. Sophist, how many people, because you watch it quite a lot. Nice one, Chrissy. I'll check it out. Appreciate it. I'm into that. Sophist, how many people have you watched and that have actually answered questions? Like, and I mean more than one, that have had an actual, the questions asked and they've answered it. None of them do, people. There was one. Well, I might even have it here, so I won't ruin it for you. Well, I will actually. Well, I won't by telling you, won't ruin it. This woman has a Twitter account. She says it's about her dogs. Yeah, there you go, Glass. None. There's one where she's got a Twitter account. There you go. None. None of these people answer questions, and even Kennedy and Cruz and Hawley, they're like, this is ridiculous. You're not answering any questions. This woman said her Twitter account was about her dogs, some woodland group she's a member of, and cooking. And so he keeps saying, well, hang on, what's this post? And it's all Marxist stuff. And she's there and she's just like, my Twitter account is in a personal capacity. And he says, yeah, I know that, but did you tweet this? My Twitter account is there in a personal capacity. And he says, yeah, I know it, but I'm just asking you, did you tweet that? My Twitter account is there in a personal capacity. It's fucking crazy. It's like, it drives you mad. Yeah, that's it. They'll ask a judge. They'll ask someone who's going to go to be like a quite a high-ranking judge a question, and they always say thank you for the question. And John Kennedy always goes, "You're welcome," knowing that they'll hate it, and then they go, "In my 19 years as a High Court judge," and they go, "Yeah, I don't. That weren't the question." Here we go. Let's roll, VT.
To Shogun, when you were here last year, a number of senators asked.
So this is Josh Hawley. Okay, the first one is the new boy, Josh Hawley.
To Shogun, when you were here last year, a number of senators asked you, including me, a series of questions about article you'd written, public statements you had made on social media that were, I have to say, pretty grossly partisan, and I thought offensive, and you and I went back and forth about it. After that, a number of us asked you questions for the record relating to these statements. I want to follow up on one of them. I, in particular, asked you to give us a full accounting of the public posts that you had made on Twitter. You had locked your Twitter account before you came before this committee. It had previously been public. I asked you.
Well, that's important, right? So her Twitter account was totally public. She was asked to appear because she'd been getting up to no good, and she closed down her Twitter account. Now, I understand her doing it. I get that. She doesn't want that out there because it implicates her and it sheds light on her true character. But it's deceptive. It's deceptive.
To provide the public posts that had previously been available on Twitter, because the ones that we have were pretty disturbing. You responded as follows, and I quote, "My personal Twitter account is comprised of posts about my mystery novels, events at the White House Historical Association, Pittsburgh sports teams, travels, and my dog," end quote. Is this an accurate statement?
Yes, Senator.
I just remind you, you're under oath. Is this an accurate statement?
Yes, Senator.
So it's really important that you heard that.
Teams, travel.
This is what she says under oath. Under oath. That her Twitter account is about.
My personal Twitter account is comprised of posts about my mystery novels, events at the White House Historical Association, Pittsburgh sports teams, travels, and my dog, end quote. Is this an accurate statement?
Yes, Senator.
I just remind you, you're under oath. Is this an accurate statement?
Yes, Senator.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your Twitter posts then that I was asking you about. On February 18th, 2022, you posted on Twitter bemoaning the dropping of mask requirements for children, including those under the age of 5. Do you remember that post?
Just in case you didn't hear that, because I didn't when I first watched it, he says masks, as in, because of the coof and all that. So this tells you that this was a few years back. But that's what he says. So if you listen to it again in context.
On February 18th, 2022, You posted on Twitter bemoaning the dropping of mask requirements for children, including those under the age of 5. Do you remember that post?
No, Senator. Those tweets were in my personal capacity.
No. I asked you, would you give all public posts that you had made on Twitter? You said no, effectively, and you said that your Twitter posts consisted of mystery novels, events at the White House Historical Association, Pittsburgh sports teams, travels, and my dog. And you just told me now under oath that you stood by that. So now let's talk about your Twitter posts. On February 18th, 2022, you posted bemoaning the fact that mask requirements for children under the age of 5, one of whom I happen to have, by the way, had been dropped. Is that a post about your dog or sports teams?
My social media is in my personal capacity.
Answer
Senator.
my question, please, because you've testified under oath that you only posted about your dog and sports teams and novels. And you also said you wouldn't give this committee any of your public posts. So is your post on February 18th, 2022, bemoaning the lifting of mask requirements for children under the age of 5, who I might just ask, all of the data has said is extremely harmful to children, these mask requirements? We'll leave that aside for now. Is that a post about your dog or sports teams? Yes or no?
My social media is in my personal capacity, Senator.
Yes.
Now, what Sophist says there on the screen, that's what frustrates me. This is all she says. What you've heard her say twice now, that's her only answer. And he reads
She can't lie. She can't answer because if she answers, it's a lie.
Yeah, but
if
she's
she tells the
already,
truth. She's knackered. So the
she's
only thing she can do is lie or say nothing.
But as you'll see, he's already caught her out because she's under oath and she said it's about this, and it ain't about that. It's not, that isn't about dogs or a historical society or whatever. But that's what drives me nuts, because the chairman, who's a Democrat, surely he should say, you've got to answer the question. You can't just say that. You're not answering the question. But it is frustrating as well as funny, though. But there's, as Sophie says, there's no penalty. There's no consequences for them just blagging it. You know, she might as well start whistling. You know, and then their 5 minutes is up, and that's it. And that's it. Okay. Well, thanks for government not working. Anyway, continue, VT.
Or no, Ms. Shogun, you are under oath before this committee, and I have to say, you have placed this issue squarely in record by repeatedly refusing to answer. Yes or no?
My social media is in my personal capacity, Senator.
So you're not answering my question. Let's talk about another post. 26th of May, 2022. You talk about an assault weapons ban, retweet a post, ban assault weapons now. Say you agree with this idea that you have to be a certain age to buy so-called assault weapons in America. Is that a post about sports teams or your dog or mystery novels?
My social media is in my personal capacity, Senator.
What about the post on...
Oi, people, Glass rather fancies Josh Hawley. I'll be interested on what the other ladies and lads who play for the other team think of Mr. Hawley. Is he an attractive man, ladies and gentlemen? What do you make of it? Anyway, roll VT.
On January 5th of 2021, in which you say that Ted Cruz ought to stay in his own lane and not worry about what's going on in Pittsburgh. This is a reference, I think, to questions he had about the certification of the last election. Is that a post about your dog or sports teams or mystery novels?
My social media is in my personal capacity, Senator.
What about the post, you remember December 10th, 2020, where you said that you were hoping that President Trump would have his vetoes overridden, and you agreed with the post that he was a weak policy president? Is that a post about your dog or sports teams or mystery novels?
My social media is in my personal capacity.
I love the way he keeps repeating her line. Is that about your mystery novels, dog? Sounds like it was something far, far, far from that. Fair play, Otto. Are you talking about Josh Hawley or both?
Capacity.
What about your post on January 5th, 2021, in which you speculated that President Trump would pardon himself next, participating in a conversation about the certification of the Electoral College? Is that a post about sports teams or mystery novels or your work at the White House Historical Association?
My social media is in my personal capacity, Senator.
What about the post? Do you remember this one? I said we seem to be having an incredible case.
So what's quite amazing about it, though, Josh Hawley knows he's not answering them. And he knows she's not going to. So he had to sit there when he prepared this thinking, okay, we've got a load more Biden nominees for these high-ranking government positions. How can I work this knowing I'm just going to get either filibustered or blocked? All right, I'm going to use it, which is what he's doing, to just read out loads of her political positions and expose her for who she is. And yeah, it's frustrating that she doesn't answer, but he does get to show televised to the American people who she actually is, which is why she looks so understandably uncomfortable.
Of amnesia, but maybe you remember this one. This is from December 3rd of 2021, in which you advise an individual who goes by Meg on social media that the Library of Congress, you advise this person to complain about religious flags that have been planted on the grounds of the Library of Congress, and you say that they ought to be removed. And you go on to give this person advice about how to complain and have them removed. Do you remember that post?
My social media is in my personal
capacity.
My social media is in my personal capacity, Senator.
I have to say, I have been here for 4
All right, hang on. And this is the thing. The Democrat, there's one where Ted Cruz says, if just one of the Democrats voted against this person, that would be enough. But I know that he says it will not happen. You've watched this madness and you will all vote for this nominee. It's insanity. And, I mean, Horus has convinced me we don't need government. So I've got to get him on. He said he'll do it. He'll come on and maybe convince you. But it'll be a good chat either way. But, this isn't functioning. They're not answering. It's less than a playground. It's less than bullying. I'm quite interested, actually. It looks like you're on your own with this one, Emma, which is nothing wrong with that. I mean, but I'd tap Carrie Lake without a second thought, Baz. Jesus.
Yeah,
there's another bird who I watched on here yesterday, and as soon as she started talking, there's one bit where she says, this is just bullshit. And then a bit later, she says, the amount of shit that's come out of your mouth, and they all go, no, there has to be some kind of decorum in here, and she just ignores them. Okay, Sophist, have you seen that one? There you go, Glass. Look, she's dropped. She's there. She's painting her nails. Roll VT.
And have them removed. Do you remember that post?
My social media is in my...
I forgot what I was going to say. So, So this one, he actually says, I'm actually asking you if you remember it. The question isn't, do you believe what you said, or is this your position, but do you remember it? And she says, well, you know what she says, because you've heard it 5 or 6 times already, but he's changed his question. I love it. I'm addicted to these videos at the moment.
On the grounds of the Library of Congress, and you say that they ought to be removed. And you go on to give this person advice about how to complain and have them removed. Do you remember that post?
My social media is in my personal
Do you remember the
capacity.
post?
My social media is in my personal capacity, Senator.
I have to say, I have been here for 4 years in the Senate. I have never seen a witness stonewall like this before. Never. I've seen a lot. This is extraordinary. Do you remember this post? December 3rd, 2021.
My social media is in my personal capacity, Senator.
I mean, this is unbelievable. And you want to be the archivist of the United States. You lied to us under oath. You lied to us in your QFRs. You just lied to me a second ago under oath, and now you're sitting here stonewalling, not answering questions about public posts that you've made. Are you a lawyer, Ms. Shogun?
No, Senator.
Are you familiar with the Shirtliff case at the United States Supreme Court?
No, Senator, I'm not.
Well, in that case, the Supreme Court held that, in fact, it constitutes viewpoint discrimination for a government entity to remove religious flags from its property when it's opened up the property to allow other people to put flags on it. Exactly the question that you were addressing in your public posts on Twitter. You're giving legal advice, which you're not qualified to give, directly contrary to the United States Supreme Court. I just wonder, does this have to do with your view that you wrote about that the religious right is connected to the rise of anti-intellectualism in American politics? Is that why you said what you said about religious flags, that the religious right is a force for anti-intellectualism? Explain that to me.
No, Senator.
Do you stand by your comment that the religious right part of the rise of anti-intellectualism in American politics?
Senator, that article was written. It was about how Republican presidents use common sense terminology to effectively communicate with Americans.
Yeah, in which you said that the religious right...
I can't even work out what's wrong with that. I just can't work it out. What? The Republicans use common sense arguments to communicate with Americans. Awful. I mean, populism, eh? What a stain on history. What, they want them going in with a bit of fucking Adorno or something?
The rise of the religious right is part of the rise of anti-intellectualism in American politics. I just point out that's the article in which you say anti-intellectual. The title is Anti-Intellectualism in the Modern Presidency, Republican Populism. Very nonpartisan. Dr. Shogun, I'm going to ask you again, will you give to this committee your public posts on Twitter? Will you make them available to this
My social media is in my personal capacity.
Mr. Chairman, I have to tell you, this is the most extraordinary thing I have seen in my brief time in the Senate. I have never seen a witness blatantly lie under oath like Dr. Shogun has just done to this committee, stonewalled this committee, and just repeatedly refused to answer my questions about her own posts that are in public. For these reasons, I will oppose your nomination, and I strongly, strongly urge this committee to take action on this and force this witness to own up to the fact that she is misleading us right now before our eyes, Mr. Chairman.
Right, here we go. So this next one is about voter ID laws. We all know what that is. The left, they've been running this for years. Needing an ID card to vote is apparently racist. Now, you need an ID card to buy booze. You need an ID card to do pretty much anything in America, but you can vote without one, and asking for one is racist. Now, the mad thing about that is the numbers don't even back it up. More blacks and Latinos in most Democrat states have voter ID cards, and yet they just still go for it. So this is Ted Cruz digging into this, a couple of witnesses on voter ID laws. Roll VT.
Your judgment.
All right, hang on. I skipped it a bit too much there.
And turn to the ranking member. Thank you, Mr.
I love Ted Cruz. He's fucked up here and there, admittedly, but don't we all? But he's fucking, excuse my language, I'm getting a little bit skittish because of this stuff. Drives me mad, really. Look at just looking at those masks reminds me of that weird world we inhabited a couple of years ago. But he's very good at this.
Chairman, I want to start with a question for each of the 5 witnesses. In your judgment, are voter ID laws racist? Professor Tolson.
Thank you for that question. So it depends. One thing we have to stop doing is treating all voter ID laws as the same.
Okay, so your answer, I want to move quickly, so it depends is your answer?
Yes, that's my answer.
Okay, so what voter ID laws are racist?
Apologies, Mr. Cruz, your state of Texas, perhaps?
Okay, so you think the entire state of Texas is racist. What about requiring an ID to vote is racist?
So I think, sir, that's pretty reductive. I'm not saying the entire state of Texas is racist.
You just said my state of Texas.
No, that's exactly what you just said, though. What? These people.
So you tell me, what about the Texas voter ID laws is racist?
So the fact that the voter ID law was put into place to diminish the political power of Latinos with racist intent and had been found to have.
You're asserting that. What's your evidence for that?
The federal district court that first resolved the constitutionality of Texas's voter ID law.
Okay, so your view is voter ID laws are racist. How about you, Mr. Yang?
I agree with Professor Tulsa. Voter ID laws can be racist.
Okay, that's two. Mr. Sides?
There are some voter ID laws that are racially discriminatory in intent.
How about in practice? In intent, fine, you say there's some racist with a malevolent intent lurking in the back of their mind. But let's just talk about it as a practical matter. When I go to vote, they ask me for my ID. I pull out my ID, I show it to them, I vote. Is that racist?
If the law that requires you to do that was motivated by racially discriminatory intent under our Constitution.
Can you believe he's telling Ted Cruz that, I mean, I can't, hello, Steve. I just can't understand it. Oh, hang on. That's someone from work. Give me 1 second. Hello, mate. I'm live streaming. So tonight's not a good night for that conversation. I'm staying at the girlfriend's tomorrow, but we can probably do it then.
Yeah, well, I'll give you a bell when I'm on my way home or somewhere when I got home.
You're live on the internet.
Not the evening internet.
Yeah, it's nothing bad or anything. It's what we talked about before about doing that presentation and all that lot.
Yeah.
All right, mate.
Boys, I just thought you might be sat there bored, so I thought I'd give you a ring.
I don't want to leave you on here because I know you're going to put me in it in a minute. Bye. He's a good lad. He really is a good lad. I just want to take this one back because, you know, when Ted Cruz says, so if I go to vote and take my card out, is that racist? Ted Cruz is from Latin heritage. I think his real first name is something like Eduardo. Oh, no, I think his middle name is Edward, but his first name is a Mexican name, I think. It's his real first name. And I can't work out how the first three people, by the way, are the Democrat nominees. That's why they're all like, yeah, it is racist. It depends if it is intent. The next two Republican nominees, and well, you'll see the clear difference in their response to this question. But how the fuck? Listen to what this bloke says. It's not madness. I don't know what it is. I've got nothing to offer. I can't understand. Well, you watch it and you tell me. I really want your answers here, people. Eduardo is amazing. Here we go.
Racist with a malevolent intent lurking in the back of their mind. But let's just talk about it as a practical matter. When I go to vote, they ask me for my ID. I pull out my ID, I show it to them, I vote. Is that racist?
If the law that requires you to do that was motivated by racially discriminatory intent under our Constitution.
Set aside intent. I'm asking about the effect.
Yes, in effect, I think that there are discriminatory effects from a number of voter ID laws.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to give the witness a chance to answer the question. Go ahead, Mr. Sine.
Yes, in effect, I think many voter ID laws are discriminatory and in design. They are designed to have that effect.
Okay, Ms. Reardon.
When you say many voter ID laws, there's only one. Should you have ID to vote, you dumb fuck?
No, sir.
Mr. Van Spakovsky.
No, particularly because every single state that has passed an ID law has put in a provision to provide a free ID to anyone who doesn't have one. The
reason that's relevant is one of the biggest arguments is, the poor people can't afford them, so it's racist, and most of the poor people are blacks and Latinx, which isn't true, by the way. And so that the rug's been yanked out of that ridiculous argument. But so the woman, you didn't even get to see the other Republican nominee because she just went, no, it's not. That she didn't speak for long enough to even be on camera.
Numbers show it has no effect. And I would remind everyone that the current version of the Texas voter ID law for in-person voting, the Obama administration agreed in court, in a court filing, that they were satisfied with it and that it was not discriminatory.
You know, I have to say this range of question actually shows the wildly partisan nature of the Democrats' proposal. The record should reflect all three of the Democratic witnesses invited by the chairman maintained to this committee that voter ID laws can be, in many instances, in most instances, I think of the various ways they formulated, are racist. So let me tell you who disagrees with that. 35 states across the country disagree with that because 35 states have voter ID laws in effect. But not just 35 states. 81% of voters in America disagree with the radical views proposed by the Democrats and the Democratic witnesses. Not just 81% of Americans. 77% of black voters in America support voter ID laws. 78% of Hispanic voters in America support voter ID laws. Now they should think about that.
And that's because they're the people who get all the immigrants dumped on their doorstep.
81% of low-income Americans support voter ID laws. And yet, what this bill is about is putting radicals in charge of saying, if you require an ID to vote, that is racist and must be struck down. This is all about partisan power. Now, DOJ has also said, under the Biden administration, that it is not going to presume that a state acts lawfully if it simply returns to pre-COVID voting laws. Ms. Reardon, Mr. Van Spakovsky, what does that tell you if they say after a pandemic, if you go back to the laws that existed before, DOJ is not going to assume that that's okay? Well, what does that tell you about the partisan nature of DOJ?
By issuing the guidance that they did, it says to me that what they would like to do is make permanent the emergency procedures that were instituted by many states through litigation by the DNC throughout the country.
So the Department of Justice, the Democrat Department of Justice, the DOJ, they want it to stay. It's kind of somewhat Trojan horse disguise, but essentially they want it to stay as it was under COVID because any fucker could vote. You could just vote. And, why would you not have it go back to how it was before, that was written into law and aligned with the Constitution? Well, because it benefits the Democrats. And how do you justify that? How do you say, well, we had emergency provisions because of COVID. We're going to stay with them because, it's good for us. So
because it went really well.
Yeah, and that's it, though. That's how ridiculous it is.
Prior to the 2020 election, and they would like those to be permanent. And so rather than understand that they are temporary, they are going to go after states that decide to go back to their original election procedures.
Well, and I think they also think Democrats did well under those emergency procedures. And so keeping those emergency procedures in place will predictably benefit Democrats.
Isn't it weird that woman who's not a Democrat, you can just tell that the type of person she is. She's brighter. She's more articulate. You can tell she's sensible. Just a basic ability to be sensible. That's kind of what defines intellectual maturation, when you don't make decisions based on the same criteria you did as a child. You make sensible decisions, but Democrats don't, because they are emotionally and intellectually immature.
I would note, in addition to disagreeing with the vast majority of the American people, the Democratic witnesses and the Democrats here also disagree with the United States Supreme Court. When I was the Solicitor General of Texas, I represented a coalition of states defending Indiana's voter ID law before the U.S. Supreme Court. A group of plaintiffs challenged that. It went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court, by a vote of 6-3, upheld Indiana's voter ID law. Not only did they just do so, Justice John Paul Stevens, one of the lions of the left, wrote the majority opinion where he said voter ID laws protect the integrity of elections.
I mean,
and yet, sadly, too many Democrats today.
I mean, this goes back to what Charlie Kirk was saying. You know, if you don't need ID to vote, and hello, Ultra Mega Essex Boy, good to see you. If you don't need ID to vote, anyone can vote. That's obvious. So all these 3.5 million that they know about that come through that southern border every year, you know, they could come into America. They could arrive in America a week before the general election for the president of the biggest firepower republic in the world. Can't speak a word of English, know nothing about the history of America. They could have an IQ. They could be, I'm not saying that retarded people shouldn't vote, but they might not be all there. But they can just, if they're 18 or what, I think they're trying to lower it to 7 or something, they can just vote. And that's all that, I mean, you know, I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but the point needs making. That's what this is about. Come to America, come in that southern border. It's been open for years now. Come in the millions. Yeah, we know we're supporting people trafficking, which puts children and women into lives of sexual exploitation and prostitution. That's the same thing. You know, we know we're supporting them, and by supporting them, we're also supporting terrorism because that's where that money goes. But, you know, fuck that, because it don't really help us. Come in, you don't need any ID to vote, and if you want free stuff, vote for us. Because if the other bloke gets in, you're all getting sent home. Now, if you need voter ID, which you can get it, it's free. But they don't want to do that because then they have to become documented, and then America knows they're there. Then America knows a bit about their background. America that dares to know who they are, who these people walking around their streets are. And that's why they don't want it. Because the old "we'll give you free stuff if you vote for us" starts crumbling. And again, without voter IDs, you don't have a nation. You have a colony. You have an airport. Well, not even an airport. It's a market. It's just a market. And when you bring in millions of people who are prepared to work for half or a third or a quarter or a couple of apples, the whole economy, the whole market suffers because markets regulate value.
They don't want to protect the integrity of elections. And I've got to say, there is a view, particularly from Northeastern Democrats, that they look down on the rest of the country as a bunch of bigots and overalls, their Southern cousins who are too oafish to be as enlightened as they are. And I have to say, there's an incredible hypocrisy in that states like Georgia and Mississippi have a higher black voter registration rate than states like Connecticut, the chairman's home state. They have higher black voter turnout rates than states like Connecticut. They have a lower gap between black and white turnout than in states like Senator Blumenthal's Connecticut. And in fact, states like Georgia and Mississippi, African Americans vote at a higher rate than white voters. And in Texas, they're basically equal. One of the sad realities of today's Democratic Party is they define race as follows. If you're a Democrat, you qualify. So under the Democratic view, I'm not Hispanic. Senator Padilla is. If you're a Democrat, you're an Hispanic. My abuelo and abuela would be very surprised to discover I wasn't Hispanic. But that's how Democrat views it. That's how the radicals in the civil rights division view it. And I will point out it as an example. This committee One federal district judge in the state of Texas, Jason Pulliam, is an African-American judge nominated by President Trump, sat at this table, presented superbly. The Democrats had no criticism, and every single Democrat on this committee voted against him. Why? Because they perceived him as a black Republican. He didn't qualify as a black man. And I actually asked, as the Democrats were voting against Judge Pulliam, do you have one basis to vote against him? Anything you disagree with? None of them had any single answer at all. This hearing's about one thing. It's about power, and it's about ensuring Democrats stay in power. That's cynical, and it's at the expense of democracy and the right of voters to express their will through free and fair elections.
And you know, don't underestimate it. When he says election integrity, that's about who's going to run the country. And I'll tell you now, if Harris wins, or whoever ends up standing, because it appears that she might not even be able to, but she's still running a campaign. Well, campaign. No one knows what she stands for. Oh, yes, they do. She's black and she's a woman. That's it.
No, the first day she's president, she's also going to lower the price of groceries. She's not going to do that now, obviously.
Yeah, exactly.
She's definitely going to do that.
She anything she wants to do, she can do now. She's got that power, but she doesn't do anything.
No, you have to vote for her first. Then she'll do it.
Someone dropped 25 squid into the QR code. I think it's Spanish chicken, but I can't say for sure. If the person who donated that is in the chat, let me know and I can thank you, unless you want to stay anonymous. But I think it's Spanish chicken. It doesn't say that, but there's a way that makes me think I can tell. But that's very kind, very generous. And it says there's a beer in. I'll read it out, actually. Evening shaggers. there's a beer in this for Packer as well. Cheers. A few people have said that. Packer, one day, somewhere, someplace, over some beautiful hill, I owe you a proper piss up.
Oh, okay, that's cool. I'll take that.
I tell you what, mate, I'm about 2 beers and asleep these days, though. So I wouldn't drink a beer. I'd probably go. I would actually. I'd probably go Guinness because I can make that last an hour. I don't drink, you know, but I would go an old fashioned. Do you like an old fashioned?
What's an old fashioned?
It's one of the most basic cocktails. It's called a cocktail, but I feel like I remember someone coming to Jerry's once, a lovely little members club on Dean Street. Went up to the bar. I mean, the bar's like 3 foot long. You know, they got a couple of bottles of vodka, a couple of bottles of gin, a couple of bottles of whiskey and 2 pumps. Lovely little place, though. You know, been there for God knows how long. And this bird went, got any cocktails? And Michael, the owner behind the bar, went, it's not a sweet shop, darling. But an old fashioned, it's like it's whiskey, but you can do it with like a bourbon if you prefer, and they're both lovely. It's got a sugar cube in it, a bit of orange peel, and I think a bit of Angus Duras bitters, maybe. I think just 1 drop of that, and that's pretty much it. And it's delicious. I'll tell you what, people, if you like a whiskey or a bourbon and you've never had an old-fashioned, you've got to go to the right place, though, because it sounds simple, but it's so easy to get wrong. But I tell you what, it's a cracking drink. And that ice cube, I've seen people I've seen them put not ice cube, that sugar cube. I've seen them put the sugar cube in. Sometimes I ask for 2 if I have a large one. Look at JP, look. The old bloke in his blue flares and his silly white hat calling me a hoof. It's actually, you've got that wrong, John. You need to get into the history of literature, mate. That's a Hemingway drink, that is. I've said stick 2 sugar cubes in that, and they've done it. And then they've crunched them up and stirred it. And when they put it across the bar, I pushed it back at them and said, yeah, can you do me an old-fashioned? And the owner come out and was like, yeah, no, let me show you how to do it. It's so easy. How do you fuck that up? But I'll tell you what, if you do like a whiskey, fair play, John, I'll give you that. I'll tell you what, Horace is the king of that. When we send messages over Telegram, his little terrible wordplay, it does tickle me. But people, if you like whiskey, you haven't had one, Pack, I'll take it by not knowing.
No, I do like whiskey though.
Well, there you go. Get him to do it right. The whiskey has to be very cold. Lump of sugar, and then like a bit of orange peel, a fair amount of it. That goes in. You don't just squeeze the zest in. It goes in the glass. Oh, it's just incredible for the simplicity of it. It's more than the sum of its parts, so to speak.
Well, all right, then. We'll have one of them then.
There you go. We'll have a few of them.
When we meet
I'm prepared to have a 2-week-long hangover for all the great work you've done on this channel. You're much loved around here, and you brought something excellent to it. Let's have a P in the chat for Packer, people. We know it's amazing when he's here. I said that, Lars. Didn't I say that? Didn't I say Angostura Bitters? Didn't I say it?
You did.
Oi, Lars, Angostura Bitters is poison. But I don't think a drop of it will kill you. There's a classic marketing story about Angostura. When the Angostura Bitters it's for that. It's for putting in like spirits to give them a little edge, right? You have a couple of drops of it, that's all. When it was a couple of brothers who invented it. And when they had the labels made, they were an inch too big. Let me see if I can show you this before we watch a bit of Senator Kennedy. I'm trying to spell Angostura is a joke. Yeah, I did mean that, Google. Right, here we go. So that's the photo. How do I get a bigger photo like that? And I copy that. And I put that on there. Hey, I didn't get the picture. Now it's gone on to vitamins. Holy moly. All right, come on, let's do this again. No, why does the picture keep disappearing? I need a picture of it at an angle. Yeah, I got it. All right, here we go. All right. This is why you'll see why I needed a picture of it. Oh, yeah, I am over 21. Not that you'd know it. Oh, man. Now, when I've told them I'm over 21, it goes away from the Angostura. How hard is it to get a picture off the internet these days? Right. Bosh. Right.
Oh, there you go.
Is it on there? Can you see it?
Yeah.
Right. So this is a true story, people. That is a bottle of Angostura Bitters. Now, if you look at the top of the label, it doesn't fit. The actual bottle, I don't know if you can, you can't. You can see my cursor there. It's just dancing by the side of the screen. The actual bottle ends about here. It sort of goes up and then, joins that bit. You can see the curve go down there. Now, when they invented it, they only made about 1,000 or 500 of the. It wasn't like a big business like it is now. It was a couple of brothers. And when they got the labels printed and they had this big sort of release in their local area, when they tried to put the first label on the bottle, he was like, these are too big. And they were like, well, what are we going to fucking do? And he said, well, we ain't going to get any more printed. We'll just go with it and just sort of, next time we'll get it right. But people loved it. And to this day, that's how you buy Angostura Bitters. And it's what a stroke of branding luck that is. Because there are other bitters you can buy, but people want the original. That's how branding works. When you go into a boozer and you see that up on the wall, you think, oh, they've got Angostura. So even if you're half pissed, you know what that is because of that ill-fitting label. There you go. A little bit of a sidestep before a bit of John Kennedy. Right. Now, here we go. I have got more, but it's nearly 3 o'clock in the morning. We'll just do one more John Kennedy, people. Feel free to keep chuck a couple in the grift, and we'll watch a bit of John Kennedy. I might do a little. Oh, pal, we've covered this. Pizzle, we've covered everything. I've only got one life, and we've been around that circle about 1,000 times. LC 350, what, 12% poison, is it? I'm suggesting that's what you're saying. Okay, John Kennedy, he's my favourite. Now, this is, he's questioning a very dislikable judge, right? She's going for some higher, I can't remember, apologies, I can't remember what job she's after, but she's already a judge. There's something strangely dislikable about her, which is odd because she's quite attractive looking. She's got a bit of the Sigourney Weaver about her. But, well, you'll see. She's very unpleasant. Roll VT. Can you hear that? Did you hear him go, Emma, did you hear him say, No way was John Kennedy the lead singer in Imagination. Hello, Linda, darling. Remember the Beefeater sauce bottle that used to sit upside down on the table? Agister was setting it just to... I can't believe you made me say that out loud. Thanks, Linda. Lovely to see you here. Oh, it was, wasn't it? It really was. Okay, you've got it. Oh, come on, Otto. When she comes out as that sort of devil woman, oh, come on. When she's in that like long, sparkly red dress, good Lord, couldn't not tap.
She did have a moment.
JK. Not Jamiroquai.
Judging
it. Watch an absolute expert.
Their will through free and fair elections.
A man who's been doing it years. He knows how she's going to respond. How can he get the most out of it? The man is a genius. I got so much time. Why haven't we got people like Josh Hawley, Ted Cruz, and John Kennedy in the British Parliament? Or the English Parliament? It's a shame.
Judge Hepburn, I was looking at your resume. You went to Brown University, is that right?
I did.
And then you went to law school in California?
That's correct.
And you've worked for the Brennan Center?
Otto, go next door. Just a suggestion. Are you off, Linda? See you later, darling. Oh, cook me some breakfast. It's nearly breakfast time. I don't know if you'll be able to get here in time. I certainly can't get there. So one day, though, Linda. So that's a piss up with Packer, breakfast with Linda. Anyone else want to arrange anything? Let me know. I'll put it in the old big gold Scrubs book that's got my real
Can I come to Linda's for breakfast as well? Is that all right? Can we just like...
Well, we could turn it... That could be the start of our all-dayer. Well, it's not. It's going to be an old man's all-dayer, like all hour. Here we go. JK, roll VT.
I interned. I was a law student intern.
Okay. And you worked for the Center for Reproductive Law and Policy?
I was a law student intern there for 8 weeks during my 1L summer.
Okay. And you are a political activist, aren't you?
I am not. I'm a sitting United States magistrate judge.
Okay.
I love John Kennedy's sort of fumbling, bumbling old man routine. It's brilliant.
He's like Columbo, isn't he?
Oh, amazing. Why didn't I think of that? That's why we have you here. You don't say much, but when you do, exactly. That is exactly. And I think I sort of knew it. Nah, that's a crazy thing to say. But I sort of knew that, but I hadn't thought it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. That's a great call, Packer.
All right. Do you remember an inmate named William McLean, also known as July Justine Shelby?
Yes, I know who you're referring to.
Okay. Mr. McLean raped a child, didn't he?
30 years
hang
ago.
on a minute. Sorry, apologies for anyone. And I have to do this or my channel's at risk. This is quite brutal. Well, it's as brutal as it gets because the what he's talking about. Now, I did get this clip off of YouTube, so I should be all right. But I don't want anyone to get upset. And I have had scrubs write to me, mainly about my writing rather than my videos. But you heard what he said then. If you don't want to hear more of that, maybe take 10 minutes off. And if you're a minor, you have to turn it off. But this one isn't just interesting for the reasons the others are. Just check out that's why he said at the beginning, you're an activist, aren't you? And she says no. And so he's now set it up to prove that if she's not an activist, she's just plain evil. So there's your warnings. This does get unpleasant. I'll take it back a bit so that we don't lose context.
Do you remember an inmate named William McLean, also known as July Justine Shelby?
Yes, I know who you're referring to.
Okay. Mr. McLean raped a child, didn't he?
30 years ago, the petitioner in the habeas case before me
did he rape a child?
He pled guilty to that crime. Yes, it's abhorrent.
And then he raped a 17. He raped a little boy, right?
I believe that's correct. I believe he pled guilty to 2 acts of sexual violence.
And then he raped a.
Have you noticed she hasn't just said yes yet? You know, he's the yes/no question. She could just say yes, but being a judge, she knows that could be used against her. So, you know, she's not just riffing. These are answers that she's used all her professional life. But you wait and see where this goes. It will blow your mind. And it's upsetting.
17-year-old girl, right?
Again, this case was handled by the state court in Indiana, but
I'm just asking you the facts. Don't stall on me now. Did he rape a 17-year-old girl or not after raping a 9-year-old boy?
I believe that's what he pled guilty to.
Okay, and then he went to prison, didn't he?
Yes, the petitioner was.
And then he came out and he sent child porn, basically adults raping little children, to another sex offender. And he was sent back to prison, right?
The petitioner pled guilty to
Was he sent back to prison?
Well, that case was in the federal system. So
Was he sent back to prison?
Yes, this time to federal prison.
Thank you. And then he decided to transition, and he became a female and started going by July Justine Shelby. Is that right?
Yes.
And Miss Shelby said, I don't want to go to a male prison. I want to go to a female prison. And the Board of Prisons said, what planet did you parachute in from? You're going to a male prison with this kind of record. And you sent him to a female prison.
I mean, I am speechless. Found guilty, charged, sentenced, and then said, I'm a woman now. And they said, well, no, your record, with your record, you can forget that. But then our friend on the witness stand here stepped in and changed things.
Well, she said that the Board of Prisons was trying to violate.
Sorry, Packer, I missed what you said, mate.
Anything he does in that woman's prison, she's an accomplice.
Well, yeah. Oh, you'd think so, but you know, she'd have washed her hands of it the minute she walked out of that court and forgot about it and went out and had her evening out of all her other Marxist judges.
And you sent him to a female prison, didn't you? You said that the Board of Prisons was trying to violate Ms. Shelby, former Mr. McLean's constitutional rights, didn't you?
I issued a report and recommendation to the district judge recommending that the district judge transfer the petitioner to a women's facility. The district judge adopted that
the Board of
recommendation.
Prisons was trying to violate Ms. Shelby's, Mr. McLean's constitutional rights, didn't you?
So I based my decision on the facts that were presented to me in the record.
But it wasn't that your ruling?
I recommended finding that under Estelle versus Gamble.
Why won't you admit that was your ruling? Are you ashamed of it?
I'm not. I'm answering the question.
No, you're not answering the question. It's a yes/no answer. It really is. It's just shocking. And fair play to John Kennedy. Why won't you say that? Are you ashamed of it? And the thing is, she's not. She doesn't even think about it. You know, you'd think that this stuff would keep people up at night for years and drive them to drink. But they don't give a shit. Because it's not about justice, it's about power and keeping it.
I applied Estelle versus Gamble.
Was that your ruling?
My recommendation was that the petitioner's serious medical needs were being denied by keeping her in a men's facility.
A violation of the 8th Amendment, right?
That's correct.
Okay. And how big was Ms. Shelby, Mr. McLean?
I don't have a specific recollection. Your colleague just suggested that she was more than 6 feet tall.
And you told the Board of Prisons, well, she'll be okay. The other women in the female prison will be okay because it's only hypothetical that Ms. Shelby, Mr. McLean would reoffend again after he's already raped a 9-year-old boy and a 17-year-old girl and has been sending child porn through the mail. You said there's no chance he'll reoffend again. Did you say that?
Senator Kennedy, I based my decision on the record.
But am I right? Did you conclude that?
I don't have a specific recollection of that. I did recommend that.
The thing is, anyone offending, let alone reoffending, is hypothetical. Until it happens, it's hypothetical. What a peculiar angle. Well, it's only hypothetical. It might happen, but we can't say it will. Yeah, but that's not really the point, is it?
After finding a constitutional violation.
What were you thinking in saying it's only hypothetical that she would reoffend?
The facts of the case were that the petitioner had last engaged in a contact offense 30 years ago. The petitioner had not engaged in any contact offense. In addition, the medical evidence made clear that for the last 5 years, the petitioner was sober and hormonally
sober. That's an amazing thing to drop in there. Sober. Oh, okay.
Entirely a female, and there was no evidence.
The Board of Prisons didn't agree with you. I'm not going to run out of time here. You're really a political activist, aren't you?
I'm not, sir.
But your record demonstrates otherwise.
I disagree. I apply the law to the facts and come to a fair decision. All of my decisions that have been appealed, particularly this one, the district judge adopted my report and recommendation in full, and the government did not move for a stay of the decision.
Okay. One more, because I don't want to end on that one because it's very dark. And also this one is our good old friend Mayorkas, and we watched a bit of it the other, not this one, but I can't stand this. One of the most slimy geezers I've ever seen, and you watch him try and wiggle out of this.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
I tell you what, Josh Hawley does not hold back.
Mr. Secretary, let's just.
And sorry to keep interrupting, but they've got form. Mayorkas and I can't remember what his first name is, Mayorkas. It might be Alexander, is it? It might be Eduardo. I'm sorry. But Pizzle, that's over, that one. But it's well worth checking out Josh Hawley and Mayorkas here. I rarely do I judge someone on that. Well, I'm not judging on his appearance because I've watched him in these situations a lot. but he's one of those people that your instinct, you just look at him, not just how he appears, but
Alejandro.
Huh?
Alejandro. Yeah, Odro.
There you go. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's it. But not just his appearance, but his mannerisms, his micro expressions, and you'll pick them up even if you don't recognize them on an unconscious level. That again, like people covering vulnerable parts of their body since going back thousands and thousands of years of evolution. They're deceptive micro expressions that they're like a quarter of a second, sometimes half that, but you feel them. You know that is we know how evolution works. The people who survive are the ones that breed, and so it's the people who can see, who recognize deception in people, recognize. I'm not going to just say it again using a different word. But so you'll see it, you'll understand it. Yeah. Well, yeah, he does fuck all. He does nothing. He doesn't even know. Sophist, because I know you've seen a lot of these. You've seen the ones where they say to him, "Do you know about this?" And he's like, "No, I don't know it." Do you know about this case? No, I don't know it. Yeah, but it's your job. Well, I'll be happy to look at it later. Thanks. Here we go. This is well worth a watch.
Come back to Jose Ibarra, if we can. You know who that is? That's a question. You know what he did?
I know what he's accused of doing.
Which is?
Murdering a young woman.
And that wasn't the first crime that he committed in this country, was it?
Senator, as I've articulated previously, I'm not going to speak about the facts of the case because there is an ongoing criminal investigation.
Have you read his parole file?
Right, hang on, hang on. Right, so Mayorkas that's his line. He's not going to comment on it because the case is ongoing. Now, you've got a point there. Okay, understood. But Josh Hawley doesn't ask questions that pertain to the case. He asks questions about things that don't affect a court procedure, and yet Mayorkas just sticks with that one, and no one. As again, Sophie said earlier, there's no penalties, there's no consequences. He can just sit there and just ignore the whole thing. He may as well not be there, but Josh Hawley lets him have it.
The same answer.
So you're not going to say whether or not you've read the parole file? I've got it right here. Have you read this?
Senator, I do not want to speak to the particulars of the case given the pending criminal.
You fucking idiot. He didn't talk about the particulars of the case. He said, have you read the parole file? Look at him. Ugh. I'm not speaking about the particulars of the case. Yeah, that wasn't the question, mate. But crack on, you absolute dolt.
So you're not going to say whether or not you've read the parole file? I've got it right here. Have you read this?
Senator, I do not want to speak to the particulars of the case given the pending criminal prosecution.
I find this interesting because this is a new answer today. You've changed your answers all over the map on this. And it looks like to me, you just don't want to answer the question. 2 days ago, you were asked about this in the House Homeland Security Committee. I've got the transcript right here in front of me. You were asked the same question. Jose Ibarra, why was he paroled? You said, I don't know. You said, I don't know. I don't have the case details with me today. Congressman Bishop says, you don't know? And you said, I don't know. I don't have the details with respect to that individual's case, but I would be pleased to provide them to you, Congressman. You didn't know 2 days ago. Now, interestingly, on April the 10th, 6 days before that, you gave Senator Katie Britt a different answer. She asked you the same question. She said, why was Jose Ibarra paroled into the United States? You said, and I quote, Ranking Member Britt, there was no derogatory information of which we were aware. So you were happy to comment on the case then on April the 10th. By April the 16th, you had developed amnesia. And today you say you just won't comment. So which is it, Mr. Secretary? Now that we have the file, I'll tell you what the difference is. Congressman Bishop didn't have the parole file. And Senator Britt didn't have the parole file. And now we do have the parole file. And now we all know that the reason he was paroled into this country was because lack of detention capacity, which, as you and I both know, is not a valid reason under the statute. And now that we...
just in case you missed that, this geezer that's got a history of violent crimes, including murder, was given parole because they didn't have anywhere to put him. The prisons were full. That's a fact. But Mayorkas, I don't want to comment on it. Last week, I don't know. I haven't seen. I don't know it's just absurd. I don't like the clown world meme, but it's hard to not roll with it when you see this kind of nonsense playing out. Gosh.
Rolled into this country was because...
I've lived through, as an adult, I've lived through what? As a politically aware adult, well, some might say otherwise, 6 or 7 American presidents and their party. I've never seen anything like this lot. Nothing. And I didn't finish what I was saying earlier. If Trump doesn't win this coming election, whatever you think of Trump, that should go out the window. Because if Trump doesn't win, I think America becomes a one-party state until it completely breaks down, or there's a revolution. And I know that might sound a bit extreme, but the way the Democrats have worked this, when you do this importing voter lark, we'll give you free stuff, the working people of America pay for that. You've hired a voting base that's gone up 3.5 million at least. I reckon it could probably double that a year since you've been in. They've got another 3 years of that. And when they give them their nice free houses and all their nice free stuff, and there's nothing free, someone's paying for it, other people's taxes, they'll be putting those people in swing states. Go and live over here in Pennsylvania. They won't be putting them in places where they won't be putting them in Democrat states where they already know they're going to win. They'll be parked up in swing states. And then you don't get a Republican. The Republicans don't get a shot at it again. It's terrifying. It's terrifying.
Lack of detention capacity, which, as you and I both know, is not a valid reason under the statute. And now that we know that for sure, this is right out of the parole file. Here it is. Subject was paroled due to detention capacity at the Central Processing Center in El Paso, Texas. Now suddenly you don't want to talk about it. This is extraordinary. It's also a pattern with you. So let me just try one more time. Have you read the parole file?
Senator, I'm going to give the same answer, and let me say...
Well, which one? Are you going to give me the answer you gave to Senator Britt? Or are you going to give the answer you gave to Congressman Bishop? Or the answer you gave to Senator Paul? Or do you want to try a fourth one?
Senator, I will not speak to the particulars of the case, given the pending criminal prosecution.
Yeah, well, I'm sure. Well, you certainly, of course you don't want to, because it is an absolutely damning indictment of your policies. Let's just review Jose Barrera and how he came to be here on September.
Right. So this is the kicker. This is how this geezer ends up roaming free in America.
The 8th, 2022, he was encountered by United States Border Patrol in El Paso, Texas, and was paroled into the United States due to lack of detention capacity. A provision, a proviso, a rule that is not permitted under the statute. You and I both know you know this. You knew it when you were talking to Congressman Bishop. You knew it when you were testifying to Senator Britt, and you know it today. You just never wanted to cop to it because the statute doesn't permit it. And so you lied to Congressman Bishop and you lied to Senator Britt. And now you are hiding behind the ongoing prosecution excuse because it's the last one left to you, because you testified falsely under oath. Then on July 19th, 2023, Ibarra reports for a biometric appointment and was fingerprinted. This is now in New York. The results come back and indicate he has a criminal history. So he's in this country. He has a criminal history. September 14th, he is arrested in New York by NYPD for what? Injuring a child. September 14th, 2023, he is arrested for injuring a child. What happens? The offense was never prosecuted, and the arrest was expunged. I'm reading right out of the parole file. Expunged. Nothing is done to this guy. He had a criminal record to start with. He's in the country on illegal grounds. You have falsely and illegally allowed him in. He commits a crime against a child. He's not prosecuted. It's expunged. In November, get this. In November, Ibarra files an application for employment authorization. And unbelievably, on December the 9th, 2023, it's approved.
He gets it. He gets it. He's allowed to work after all that. Yeah, go on. Yeah. Have a job. You can work. Fair play to the likes of Josh Hawley giving it to these fuckers.
So this is your policies in action, Mr. Secretary. A criminal is permitted into this country on grounds flatly not permitted, flatly contradictory to the statute. He commits a crime against a child, and then he gets a work permit. He gets a work permit. You want to know why all of the jobs in the last 2 or 3 years have gone to illegal migrants? Working people in this country can't get a job. Their unemployment rate's high. Why? Because of things like this. And then what's he do? Well, we all know that in February, he commits the heinous crime against Laken Riley. Is this a record that you are proud of?
That's murder, by the way.
Senator, you've misstated some facts.
I have read from the parole file, which you have said you don't recall, don't have, you miscited. I'm reading from it. It is right here. And I've just, pursuant to the speech and debate clause, I have just read it into the record. And the reason is you have lied repeatedly to Congress and to the American people about this. They deserve to know. And the only way they're going to know is if I tell them. I've just told them. It's in the record now. I've read it verbatim from the parole file. Verbatim. I just want to know, why did you change your story so often? Why didn't you just answer honestly to Congressman Bishop and Senator Brett?
Senator, I am confident that justice will be vindicated in the criminal prosecution of the case.
Well, hopefully he'll get more of a trial than you got. Otherwise, there'll be no justice for anyone at all. Let me ask you something else. Travis Wolf. Do you know that name?
Not off the top of my head.
Travis Wolf is a 12-year-old boy from Missouri. This is him. Travis was killed on December 20th, 2023, or I should say he was in a tragic attack on that night. He died some weeks later, head-on collision. The person driving the vehicle, who's now been charged with 6 criminal counts, is Indrina Bracco. Do you know who that is?
I do not, but let me communicate that I know that all of our hearts break for the family of this young boy.
Oh, so convincing. Oh, thanks for that. I mean, I'm sure the family watching this are like, oh, I mean, at least that's something. Thank you, Mayorkas. Thanks. You slimy, horrible, useless red.
Who died in that accident?
Well, she's an illegal migrant here from Venezuela. Local law enforcement tell me that she was detained briefly at the border in 2023 and then released. And then she commits this crime. Multiple people have been stabbed in O'Fallon, Missouri by illegal migrants. Mr. Secretary, I know that you think your policies are a success. You sat right there in that chair and you've told me over and over, our policies are working. You're on the record years and years saying that. Maybe they're working for you. Maybe they're working for your political objectives, whatever they may be. I don't know. But they're not working for Laken Riley or Travis Wolf or the people of my state. They are, in fact, a travesty. What you have done is a travesty. And, sir, it is long past time for you to go. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah. Excellent. I think I'll save the next ones because I've got about another 8 racked up, but I think too many in one go, they start losing their impact. Packer, have you seen any of them before?
I do watch Forbes, yeah, and yeah.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? It's
the Ted Cruz one, I think.
Hello, Pags. Monty doesn't look very heartbroken. No, looks
that last bloke, that Mayorkas, is that his name?
Yes.
Then you know that look about him, the way he is. he's been doing that since his first day at school, hasn't he? You know what I mean?
You know what his job is? He is the Secretary of Homeland Security.
Yeah.
He's like the top dog at HMS.
Yeah. He's never seen a lunchtime at school with any money in his pocket, has he?
It's a weird angle, but I'll take it. I mean, I am praying that Trump wins the election for many, many reasons. But I tell you what will be interesting, and it will happen if Trump wins, the declassification of documents that Democrats have kept hidden. Because what we've seen them do, what we know they've done and got away with, is bad enough and, like, you know, terrifying and surreal. It's surreal. It's like, am I in a film here where everything's just peculiar and the world doesn't work like it did 4 years ago?
Problem
But
is
what they're hiding.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is the system, the political system in America is so corrupt. If you start pulling bricks out of that Jenga tower, the whole lot just falls down. Then you've got nothing. It's the whole thing, both sides, the same as here, through and through. I mean, if you took all the liars out of Parliament, who's left?
You know, I'm not so sure. You know, there's a lot of those rhinos, the Republicans in name only, that I wouldn't trust them with my vape, let alone with my country. But the likes of those three, I think, you know, these sorts of people would be great in government.
Yeah, I believe probably in America there's a lot more individual people that stand up for the rights and do it for the right reason.
Oh, hang on a minute. Sorry, go on, Packer. Sorry, mate.
I think the system as a whole is still corrupted.
When Trump talked about draining the swamp, I think he found that was a far harder job than he originally thought. You know, the tentacles go so far and deep, and you know, you think you're taking on this person, but that actually becomes a corporation, that becomes a nation, and then it's like, wow. And I think he was naive in a lot of ways regarding that. This might be a bit controversial, but in a way, Trump's naivety allowed him to say the things he said that got him to win. You know, all that drain the swamp stuff. People were gagging for it. Yeah, let's get rid of all these, you know, self-aggrandizing, self-promoting, and self-ish people. Let's get that. You know, we want people who represent we the people. That's what the Americans want, and they haven't had that. But of course, as soon as he got in, he was hobbled. You know, they could not believe that he won. And so the media machine, multi-billion-dollar media machine, kicked into gear. What was it? Something like 97% of media on Trump was negative. I mean, It's unheard of. That is no longer a media. It's not even propaganda. It's activism. I mean, you know, I know I'm not telling anyone anything they don't know, but what? And you know, I had a real sadness about me when I saw that machine just kick into gear, because what a first lady Melania would have been if they had got the support. You know, what a funny, you know, Trump went up to North Korea and started making, you know, let's forget the past and let's maybe start fixing things, repairing things. You know, and I remember when he said on, I don't know, it was probably Fox News. I can't imagine anyone else doing it. When he said, you know, what's wrong with making friends with Russia? And it's like this sort of historic, you know, the Democrats, they love that. Oh, you know, there's enemies out there, and without us, they're going to get you. And Trump did pull the rug out from under that. He did say, no, it's not necessarily the case. But I tell you what, it's good. If the day after that, oh man, I can't imagine how sad I will be if the Democrats win this election.
Just so anybody in the chat knows, the conversation between Musk and Trump last night, Mr. Reagan has done a highlight thing that's about 12 minutes long.
Okay, good call. Good call.
Bullet points they covered, because apparently there was a lot of rambling.
Okay, so that's the one I'll watch for sure. Mr. Reagan's a YouTube channel, people. He's a bloke who done that Kamala Harris parody that Elon Musk retweeted. Spanish Chicken in the chat. Was that your donation over there on Buy Me a Future? I wasn't sure. Hello, Jules. You're a little bit late, son. Oh, we're about to wrap up. I'll tell you, I haven't seen in here for a while. My man Anglo, and
yeah,
I saw him in Rags' stream, and I thought, I hope I haven't upset him or said the wrong thing, because you know sometimes I'm talking a lot, obviously. Yeah. Well, there you go, people. Packer, hang on, I want to see Spanish Chicken's answer. Glass says the left is accelerating at such a pace now they won't let go. I hope Trump wins, but I fear he won't be allowed to. There's a few things they've got to do. Not only, like Andrew Sorba said, like stop walking around the points and just say what you're going to do. You've got to get, you know, don't dilly-dally. They've also got to be driving coaches down to churches, putting on a barbecue, and then driving them to the polling booth. You know, that needs to be done. It works. The Democrats do it, not at churches, because there's no one there will get in their fucking coach or eat any of their fucking vegan food. But imagine the Democrats turning up at your church and getting out their cheese.
Yeah.
Oh, nice one, mate. Nice one. That's a very generous of you. Much appreciated. I'll get your video message done after this stream. Really appreciated. They're good over there because it's attached to my Substack. It's a bit of social proof. You know, people think, oh, people like his writing. They give him a few quid here and there. So nice one. Packer, final words on today's stream. What did you make of it?
Interesting.
It wasn't it. Oh, that's a bit disappointing.
What's that? What interesting? No, I like them false videos. I did used to watch them regular, but it does get a bit tedious with the constant not answering the question.
Tedious.
But I did like watching old Columbo corner.
Yeah, Columbo was a great call. And people, if you're long-term investing, this is my final thoughts. This isn't a time to sell and lose. It's always been about 5, 10, 15 years. This is a time to put scavenge together 100 quid a month, 200 quid a month and buy. Because there are some really good companies like Microsoft. Microsoft ain't going anywhere. You know, all this AI stuff, you need the hardware and the software at a retail level, and that's what Microsoft are like. Well, I won't have a look. I'll get into it and we'll be there forever. But, there's bargains out there. Don't go to YouTube channels. There's a few that are all right, but all the YouTube channels that talk about investing sell courses. They talk about how I'll sell you my course on options trading, how I make $50,000 a week with only 3 hours work. Well, I find that very hard to believe when you release 3 videos a day, which I know with the preparation and all the other stuff, that's 6 hours a day work. 6 hours a day work you're doing. If you're earning 50 grand a week, I can't imagine you're doing, what's that? 42 hours a week of YouTubing, and you're on 50 grand a week. You can stick that up your ass. They're all, I'll tell you what, Tom Nash is worth a watch. Tom Nash and Jeremy Lefebvre's all right, but it's all clickbait and they're all selling courses. Now, there's not intrinsically something wrong with selling a course. It might be a good course, but you know, they've got a reason to get you to their channel, and they've got a reason to scare you about, you know, the stock market crashed apparently a couple of weeks ago. It went down about 5 points. It's like, oh, and that's gone back up. But there are some bargains out there. Now, I'm not a professional. I've got to say this. This is for entertainment purposes only. I'm not telling you what to do. You could lose all your money. And I know I've always talked about indexes, but it might be worth looking at some of the bargains. Tesla's a bargain at the moment. You'll be looking at 10 years, but when Tesla has been building up a data set of all those EVs, all those Tesla electronic cars have been recording all the driving. They've got all the driving every single one of those EVs has done is now a data set which they're going to use to program their driverless cars. That's happening, people. Don't think that's like 20 years time. I reckon that could be happening within 5 years. Don't necessarily think of Tesla as just a car manufacturing company. They're also onto that. They're also building robots that can do work, and their stocks are down. It could be a bargain. You know, if you bought £2,000 worth of Apple shares in about 2003, that would be worth about 1.5 mil in about 2020. Now, I know a lot of us are a bit old to wait that long, but there's bargains out there. You don't need to be that clever. Just avoid YouTube for your investment advice. Go to websites where they're not selling you anything, where they're actually, someone's got a passion and that you can find out, just go for information. Go and look at the stock price of a company. Look at the earnings over the last 5 years. Look at its pattern. Look, find out, is it a good company? Do you trust it? Do you think Microsoft is going to be around in 10 years? Do you think Tesla is going to be around in 10 years? Nvidia, Palantir, they're slightly more risky end of the spectrum. And just dollar cost average, 50 quid a month, 100 quid a month, 20 quid a month, fucking $5. It's tax free. And that might sound ridiculous, but in 20 years, that tenner a month, you might have a nice little nest egg and be able to get yourself out to Cambodia for 6 weeks and have a piss up with me and Packer and Linda. Hey. But please, again, don't sell because they're going down. That you haven't lost any money if you don't sell them. The market is volatile. It goes up and down, but it goes up and down in that direction. People have always said, the market can't keep going up. It can't keep going up. Yeah, but it has done. And it will do because the population's growing and more people are consuming, which means more needs producing. Yes, there's inflation. Yes, there's unemployment. A functioning economy needs unemployment. If you haven't got unemployment, who's going to do all the new jobs? A corporation comes in and you've got full employment. Well, you can't grow. Your country can't grow. Well, I hope I haven't upset my man Anglo.
No, he's about. Linda said he was in last stream.
Oh, okay. I see him in Ragsies after my last one. Now, I know, I don't expect him to be here every time, but I do sometimes say things without thinking about it. And bought the last dip. You can't time the market, but you can have time in the market. So how much is a centime près? You've made one, you bought the last dip and you've made 1 centime. What did you buy? Half a share in, what would it be? What was the old video shop? Blockbuster. I'm sure you've seen people. If you haven't seen the South Park Blockbuster episode, it's brilliant, man. One of them's old man buys it, and they're like, "Oh, all right, let's have a P in the chat for Packer, please. Nice one, Packer. Thank you, mate. Always appreciated. You know that." Thanks, and I owe you a few drinks. That'll happen one day. One day when you're least expecting it and you're at work, I'll rock up at your house and say, well, it'll have to be me and you instead, my love. And I'll get a crowbar around the back of my neck, which will probably wake me up after me half a whiskey. Thanks for coming on, mate. You've been brilliant as ever. Look at all those P's. People love you.
Thank you.
I'll let you out of here. People, don't forget to like the video before you all rush off. Don't forget, Thursday night, John Palmer, the JP stream. Me and him, I'm going to talk to him about his life. So that will be very interesting. Get an interesting glimpse on the childhood of JP. And when he come on as a guest the other week, it went down brilliantly. So I think you'll enjoy that. I'll probably get that advert out. I'll probably get that advert out tomorrow so that you know when it is and you can stick a reminder on it and all that lark. Hello, Henry. I didn't know you were here, son. Nice to see thee. All right, people. Here's a song from Bally G. See you later, Packer. Ta-da, mate. Ta-da, mate. There you go. Isn't he great? What a lovely thing that worked there. I don't even know how it happened, but he's the co-host. He's the co-host with the least. Exactly, and it works an absolute treat. John's thanking Packer for a good guest. Night, Alexander. Oh, did you watch it, Baz? People, there you go. Look, Baz is on it. It's called Evil. It's a Swedish movie. Oh, it's subtitled. It's not a horror, even though it's called Evil. It's brilliant. Baz, fair play for checking that out, mate. I really appreciate that. Really appreciate that. Anyway, in honor of my man Anglo, this is Cold Hard Steel from my man Bally, the Paul to the Mumford G. Yeah, shoot on sight, fire at will, shoot to kill. I'm ripping it large, loud, massive and erect. Whoops. I've never streamed without an erection. It's just nature, I suppose. I will be putting your comments on the screen while the music plays. Please don't forget to like the video. Ta-ta.
Said you would. Tell your mama you're coming home. Over that death syndrome. But you realize you've been sold when you feel the enemy's cold hard steel. Feel the dawn of your final day.
Hello, Steve.
Get right in that big black plane. Kill the conscience along your brain. But you'll realize you've been sold when you feel the enemy's cold hard steel. Cause the wheels are ready to roll when you feel the enemy's cold hard steel. Oh Lord.
Cheers, Tucker.
Do whatever they tell me to. Tell yourself it ain't really you. But when the slaughtering has begun, you'll be murdering
Thank you, Emma.
someone's son. And you'll realize you've been sold when you feel the enemy's cold hard steel. Cause the wheels already been rolled when you feel the enemy's cold hard steel. Oh Lord, yes, you'll realize you've been sold when you feel the enemy's cold hard steel. Oh Lord, cause the wheels already been rolled when you feel the enemy's cold hard steel. Oh Lord.
Wow. There you go. Apologies, people. There's quite a lot to juggle when you're streaming, and I sometimes see names and I think I've said hello to them, and then I know that I've said, if I haven't said hello to you, it's not because I ignore you or don't like you or anything. I just forget. Yep, it's an hard job. Look after yourselves, people. I can barely talk. I'm going to Super Duper now to buy some yogurts and some duck kamon. Duck kamon is honey, but it actually means duck is water and kamon is bee. Water from bee, it means. I go in there and I go bong min duck duck gao chu nang duck kamon. And that says, have you got any sour milk from a cow's tit and water from a bee? You couldn't make this shit up. I wish I could, because I might be a successful writer. Look after yourselves, people. Ta-da and hoita!